My House of Horrors Chapter 1001 to 1021. The scenarios were like a maze. Some were huge, and some were just a single room. Chen Ge wandered around aimlessly with the key. He realized that many scenarios were connected internally, and the way to clear them was different. Didn't the visitors say that there are many old objects inside the haunted house? How come I don't see any of them? Or are most of the old objects not attached to them, and Zhongju placed them inside the haunted house to hide the altar and the old house? No, I think I've missed something. There's a wind chime inside the cursed house, and there seems to be something attached to it. Chen Ge did not want to leave any regrets, so he took a shortcut to return to the haunted house, and it was another mess. He first returned to the hostel scenario to retrieve his watch, clothes, and backpack. Then he removed the wooden boards and entered the cursed house. Once he entered, Chen Ge noticed that something was wrong. There were lights flashing in the corridor, and many people were walking toward him. The staff outside finally dared to come in. The visitation was not interrupted, and the central computer was not shut down. Under such circumstances, the manager of reincarnation gathered 15 workers before they dared to enter the rescue. Be careful. We've lost contact with the workers inside. All of you, keep your spirits up. Quote. Boss, I saw something wrong with one of our workers. Are we not going to call the police? This is the second day of our theme park's opening. If the police come now, do you know what it means? Many people have a problem with the holographic technology at our theme park. They think this kind of immersive experience will damage the brain and 5 senses. Calling the police will be giving our attackers a piece of evidence. Quote. But, if the problem is serious enough, I will call the police. I don't need you to teach me. Now, do as I say. Right. Go and chase away the media at the exit. Quote. Brother Zhang, we've found the actor who plays the chainsaw killer. His name is Li Xiaoyi, one of our old workers. Why would something happen to an old worker? Has he been to the old house at the center of the haunted house? Quote. No idea. Hearing their conversation, Chen Ge knew that he had no chance to find the wind chime, so he left silently. Could the brother Zhang mentioned by the staff be Zhongju? There was no point in staying any longer, so Chen Ge prepared to leave. Opening the rusted iron door, all the wandering projections disappeared. The crying and laughter inside the haunted house slowly disappeared, and a ray of light fell on Chen Ge. A flight of stairs appeared in front of him. Stepping on the stairs, Chen Ge returned to the ground. They're out. Someone is coming out. Quote. What a huge commotion. Finally, someone came out safely. Quote. The haunted house at the futuristic theme park is too scary. The sound seemed to be able to tear the roof off. Chen Ge waited for his eyes to adjust to the light before he looked around. He was at the exit of the haunted house with the theme of reincarnation, and from there, he could see the entrance of the haunted house. At that moment, there were workers continuously moving the visitors who had fainted from fear out of the haunted house. This scene could only be seen at New Century Park. The area around the haunted house was filled with visitors who wanted to watch the show. There were also a few reporters waiting by the side. Everyone was holding their phones to take pictures, and they were all commenting on how scary the haunted house was. Fainted visitors kept being moved out from the entrance, and Chen Ge, who walked out from the exit alone, stood out like a sore thumb, so he attracted everyone's attention instantly. The crowd swarmed over to surround Chen Ge. The visitors who were with you have all fainted. You're the only one who is still conscious. Can you tell us how you're feeling now? One of the reporters rushed to ask Chen Ge. Next to him, there were many visitors using their phones to take pictures of Chen Ge. The visitors who were with me. Chen Ge looked at the people who were being carried out from the haunted house with white foam coming from their mouths. He shook his head and took out his phone. There were 6 people who entered the haunted house at the same time as me, and all 6 of them are the workers at the haunted house. Their fainting is nothing more than a self-directed farce. Quote. Pressing the play button, Chen Ge played the audio that he had recorded earlier before the reporters and all the visitors. We're on the same side. I'm Li, and this is Zhang Ling. You didn't receive the notice, right? Both of us entered the haunted house with a visitor. Quote. We're all your colleagues. Other than that Chen Ge, we're all your employees, really. Chen Ge had many similar recordings, but he had only picked out 2 that were more representative. 7 people visited the haunted house, and 6 of them were workers. I'm the only real visitor. Their methods can no longer be described as despicable. Chen Ge stood at the exit, and he looked quite angry. The thing that I don't understand the most is that after they knew they couldn't stop me, they had their own people pretend to be unconscious to create the impression that their haunted house is very scary. Excuse me, excuse me. When the haunted house designer Qing Ming heard the commotion, he squeezed through the crowd. When he saw Chen Ge at the exit, it was like he had seen a ghost, and his face was filled with disbelief. The combination of 40 hellish scenarios, and even the computer had crashed. How did he get out? Chen Ge, you're just in time. Explain to everyone, why did you arrange for 6 haunted house workers to accompany the 7 of us? To scare me, you sure went through a lot of trouble. Chen Ge took out his phone and played the recording for Qing Ming. Went through a lot of trouble. Qing Ming grumbled with a bitter expression. Didn't they learn such dirty tricks from you? Actually, when he saw his workers fainted, he had already come up with a solution. If all the visitors fainted, it would show how scary the futuristic theme park's haunted house was. Since everyone had fainted, he could say whatever he wanted, just like Chen Ge's haunted house. However, to his surprise, all the workers fainted, and only this real visitor ran out from the exit. Just as he thought that was the worst that could happen, Chen Ge found evidence that the few visitors were actually employees of the haunted house in disguise. There was no such thing as the worst, only something worse. There's a misunderstanding here. Stop filming for now. Qing Ming tried to drag Chen Ge into the stadium to calm himself down, but he did not expect the young man before him to be so strong. Not only did he fail to drag him away, he ended up being grabbed by the young man. Qing Ming, can you give us an explanation? Chen Ge grabbed Qing Ming. Why would there be 6 haunted house workers to accompany me? The flashing lights and the noise from the visitors made Qing Ming dizzy. His forehead was covered in sweat, and he was starting to envy the workers who had fainted. Say something, there are so many people waiting for you. Chen Ge grabbed Qing Ming, and his brain worked fast. No matter what the man said, he had come up with a solution. Even if Qing Ming was pretending to be unconscious, he had a way to save him. Everyone, give me some time. Qing Ming was sweating from anxiety. He came up with several excuses, but none of them were convincing. For Qing Ming, every second that he spent beside Chen Ge was torture. He looked at Chen Ge with a pitiful gaze, hoping that Chen Ge would show him mercy, but he saw Chen Ge open his own livestream on his phone. The livestream has been unblocked. Perfect. Before the millions of viewers, Chen Ge replayed the evidence and reconstructed the whole incident. Chen Ge was a visitor who had come to challenge the haunted house at the futuristic theme park alone. The 6 employees who accompanied him were unconscious, but he was alive and kicking. This incident was strange, but no matter how one looked at it, the real victim should be Chen Ge. Challenging the haunted house alone, in someone else's territory, he was at their mercy. Even if he wanted to resist, he could not. But reality was that strange. The employees from the futuristic theme park went to visit Chen Ge's haunted house, and the old fans of the haunted house were betting on how many visitors would faint this time. The next day, when Chen Ge went to visit the haunted house at the futuristic theme park, the netizens were betting on how scared Chen Ge would be, but who would have thought that it would be the actors who fainted. The old fans of Chen Ge's haunted house had learned their lesson. It did not matter whether Chen Ge had entered their haunted house or not. As long as it was a haunted house, there would definitely be people who would faint, and this man seemed to have his own halo. Chen Ge was chatting happily with the netizens, and Qing Ming was about to die. Thankfully, another leader from the futuristic theme park came, and Qing Ming was saved. After much persuasion, they finally pulled Chen Ge into the venue. They looked at Chen Ge, who was still broadcasting live, and wanted to cry but had no tears. Big brother, you've finished your tour. Our employees came to your haunted house to cause trouble. Even though they are despicable, they have received the punishment they deserve. When Liu Gang wakes up, we will urge him to issue an apology as soon as possible. Qing Ming had already given in. He just wanted to send Chen Ge away as soon as possible. In other words, it's all Liu Gang's fault, right? Chen Ge stared at Qing Ming with a smile on his face. I agreed to enter your haunted house alone, but you're not satisfied with that, so you found 6 actors to bully me. Aren't you a little too cruel? Is this something a human can do? Quote. It's mainly because you combined more than 40 scenarios at once. We didn't even consider that. They followed you in to protect you. Qing Ming racked his brain, but he did not know how to answer Chen Ge's question. Normally, he was a smart person, but when faced with Chen Ge, he felt speechless. It's almost noon. How about we go for lunch first? Let's calm down and discuss what to do in the afternoon, okay? Quote. It's not even 11 yet. What's there to eat? Chen Ge held the phone and pulled Qing Ming to his side. Don't worry, I'm not an unreasonable person. As long as you give me a satisfactory answer, I won't argue with you. Chen Ge took off his watch. I'll return your things first. I remember you said that the score will be displayed on the screen outside. Yes. Qing Ming accepted Chen Ge's watch and keyed in Chen Ge's personal ID on the central computer. Moments later, a number that shocked him appeared, 4,200 points. What's my score for clearing this scenario? Chen Ge was actually quite curious. The reward for clearing a hellish scenario was 100 points, and he had combined 40 scenarios at once. The computer seems to have malfunctioned. I need to restore the data. Before Qing Ming could touch the computer, Chen Ge grabbed his hand. Can't you be a little more shameless? Chen Ge could understand Qing Ming. Currently, the highest score on the ranking was 105 points. In other words, if the futuristic theme park did not cheat internally, it would take a long time for Chen Ge's name to disappear from the ranking. Our visit time is 60 minutes. You've seriously exceeded the time limit, so this score doesn't count. Qing Ming shrugged. We're just following the rules. It doesn't count because I've exceeded the time limit. Chen Ge let go of Qing Ming's hand. Then, give me the watch. What are you doing? It's still the combination of 40 hellish scenarios. I'll speed through it again in 60 minutes. The viewers in the livestream haven't seen it yet. Chen Ge put on the watch again and told the camera, the screen might shake a lot. I'm going to start running. There's no need. You've just come out. You should take a good rest. It's fine. I'm just relaxing at your haunted house. Chen Ge stood at the entrance. Aren't you following the rules? I have more than 1 million viewers here. Quote. 39 minutes later, the leader from the futuristic theme park was answering the questions from the media when the noisy crowd suddenly quieted down. The leader was quite surprised. He followed the crowd's gaze and turned around. He was scared out of his wits. It's you again. You guys go on with your conversation. Don't mind me. Chen Ge walked out from the haunted house for the second time. I exceeded the time limit, and the manager refused to record my score, so I had to speed through it again. Why didn't he agree to record your score? Can you speed through a haunted house? Please wait a moment. Walking out from the crowd, Chen Ge took off his watch and handed it to Qing Ming. This time, it's within 60 minutes. If you have any objections, I can try again. After all, I have nothing to do today. I have no objections. You should go back after the visit. I know you're busy. Qing Ming obediently entered Chen Ge's score into the watch. How did you clear the scenario when the difficulty is so high? Don't tell me you're not born with fear. Quote. The reason I was able to clear the scenario is because you've randomly assigned me the class of volunteer worker. This class looks normal, but it has a hidden bonus. You can try it when you challenge your own people. Volunteer worker. This most useless class is actually the most powerful. Quote. Qing Ming remembered Chen Ge's words in his mind. Moments later, gasps came from outside the haunted house. Chen Ge's name appeared on the screen. He was at the top with a score of 8,400, more than 8,000 points ahead of the second place. Qing Ming, is the manager speaking outside surnamed Zhang. Chen Ge was live streaming on his phone and stood next to Qing Ming. Qing Ming hated Chen Ge. If not for the fact that Chen Ge was live streaming, he would have had the security escort Chen Ge out. Why are you asking that? I heard your park didn't plan to build a haunted house initially. It was a man by the name of Zhang Ju who insisted that the construction started. I believe he must be a fan of haunted house, so I wish to have a good chat with him. Quote. Manager Zhang is not someone you can meet, but his son is helping out at this haunted house. If you're really interested, go find his godson, Zhang Ming. Zhang Ming. Chen Ge had run into a worker with the surname Zhang at the haunted house. The man looked about his age, and he was responsible for rescue work. People called him Brother Zhang. Chen Ge memorized the name Zhang Ming. He wanted to ask more questions, but Qingming suddenly took out the phone with a black screen from his pocket and rushed out like someone was calling him. Is that necessary? As a visitor, Chen Ge was left alone inside the theme park. All the employees from the futuristic theme park seemed to have made a pact. Once they saw Chen Ge, they would take a detour and not give Chen Ge the chance to get close. I feel like I'm isolated. Chen Ge's phone was still on livestream. The netizens who saw this were strangely amused, and they kept commenting. Looks like the futuristic theme park has decided to ignore me. Have they given up? Chen Ge felt like it was pointless to stay there any longer. He walked out from the theme park, and as he prepared to leave, his phone suddenly vibrated. Everyone at the theme park knows that I'm live streaming. Who would call me at a time like this? Chen Ge only had one phone. He glanced at the caller ID, and when he realized it was Li Zheng, he quickly answered the call. Inspector Li, you're looking for me. It was you who said there was a murder at Eastern Zhujiang's Zhongyuan apartments, wasn't it? Li Zheng cut to the chase. Yes. The body has been found. Where are you now? No, the body has been found. What does that have to do with me? I'm not the killer. Chen Ge did not know whether the livestream could hear him on the phone or not. When he answered the call, he did not turn off the livestream. After all, with millions of viewers, every extra minute of livestream would bring him a lot of money. Come to Zhongyuan apartments immediately. We found your hair at the crime scene. My hair? That's impossible. Quote. Chen Ge thought about it, and he believed that when he lent his jacket to the ghost, there was a strand of his hair left on the jacket. Last night, I kept my eyes closed. I have no idea what the ghost looked like, and I have no idea what appeared before me. Don't waste time. If you don't arrive in 1 hour, it'll be a different story when we arrive. Please don't come. I happen to be in the eastern suburbs. I'll go there now. Chen Ge was still live streaming. If millions of netizens saw him being taken away by a police car, it would be really hard to explain. After hanging up the phone, the livestream returned to normal. Chen Ge did not even bother to look at the bullet screen. After chatting with the netizens for a while, he went offline. This visit to the futuristic theme park feels quite good. I've not only managed to relax, but I've also found clues related to the ghost fetus. Chen Ge looked at the comic in his backpack. When he entered the reincarnation-themed haunted house for the second time, he had finally found the wind chime from the cursed house. There was a little girl's lingering spirit attached to it, and the spirit seemed to be related to the red specter in the stage costume. Therefore, Chen Ge did not waste much time and invited the girl into the comic. Time to go. Chen Ge glanced at the futuristic theme park behind him. The number of visitors was endless. It was almost noon, but there were still cars carrying visitors over. Without haunted house, New Century Park would not have been able to compete with this giant. Chen Ge put his phone away and took out the black phone. Before this, I always did the lucky draw at my own theme park. This time, I'll try it at someone else's theme park. Perhaps I'll get something unexpected. Clicking open the Wheel of Misfortune on the black phone, Chen Ge had looked at the rules for the umpteenth time. This Wheel of Misfortune only has a chance of drawing a baleful specter, but there's a higher chance of drawing something else. Walking to the entrance of the futuristic theme park, Chen Ge squeezed through the crowd. He glanced at the sun in the sky and purposely chose a spot where the sun would shine. Let's give it a try. Sliding on the screen, Chen Ge spun the wheel. When the needle stopped, the black phone vibrated. Spectre's favored, congratulations. You have drawn a special item, a picture without a face. A picture without a face. The first time I realized that I had forgotten you was when I saw your picture. I couldn't remember who the person in the picture was, but I felt that he was very important to me. I asked you, and you told me that it was you. Then I lost count of how many times I forgot about you until one day, you never appeared again, and I forgot what I had forgotten. Spectre's favored. Congratulations for winning the 5th Baleful Spectre. The title of Spectres Favored has been changed to Red Spectres Favored. Red Spectres Favored, misfortune, misfortune, depression, pain. The Red Spectre's favor is accompanied by a shadow that cannot be shaken off. You will obtain the truth, but at the same time, you will lose everything. Warning. Red Spectres Favored. Draw another 10 Baleful Spectres, and the title will level up again. Quote. The sunlight fell on Chen Ge, and his shadow grew longer. Chen Ge, who did not stand out in the sea of people, stood where he was quietly holding the black phone. No one paid him any attention, and no one could understand what he was feeling. For the current Chen Ge, being favored by a red spectre was a good thing, but the problem was that the black phone's description of this title was very vague. Chen Ge only knew that it might affect specters and red specters, but he had no idea what kind of influence it was, and whether it was a good or bad influence. Just from the description of the title, those who know would know it's a reward, but those who don't might think it's a hidden punishment. No, if this happened to a normal person, this would be the cruelest punishment. Chen Ge initially wanted to draw 10, but after calming down, he decided against it. The baleful specters drawn by the black phone were all related to an item. To obtain that baleful specter, he had to personally find the baleful specter and help it complete its wish. Putting the black phone away, Chen Ge left the futuristic theme park and hailed a cab to head to Zhongyuan Apartments. 20 minutes later, once Chen Ge got out of the car, 2 officers walked over. Chen Ge did not know them, but they knew him. In a certain field, Chen Ge was quite famous. Inspector Li is on the 12th floor. Many residents were gathered outside the building. The 2 officers led Chen Ge past them, and the 3 of them came to the 12th floor. Brother Zheng. Seeing Li Zheng, Chen Ge was quite happy, even though they had just met 2 days ago. Has the person who fainted at the mental hospital woken up? It's the patient called Chong Ji Yu. He only has one eye. Quote. We'll talk about that later. Li Zheng grabbed Chen Ge and led him to the deepest part of the 12th floor corridor. Did you come here last night? Yes. Chen Ge had no idea what Li Zheng was going to say. There's a murder case hidden here. Did you know about it before you came here last night? Is that important? If you knew that there was a murder case here before you came, but you didn't call the police immediately and chose to investigate on your own, then I'll bring you back to the station now and have you calm down for a few days. Li Zheng grabbed Chen Ge's shoulders. 2 days ago, you fainted at the mental hospital, and last night, you ran to the countryside to investigate a murder case. I can understand your desire to find your parents, but it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. I didn't know there was a murder case hidden here before I came. I can promise you that. Chen Ge patted Li Zheng's shoulder lightly. Brother Zheng, I only go to investigate when I'm 90% sure, so you don't have to worry about my safety. I can't argue with you, and I don't know how to persuade you. I just feel like you're being chased by something, and you're running as fast as you can. Li Zheng had many years of experience as a police officer, so he was a good judge of character. Actually, you can trust us. You can rely on us. Yes, I know. Chen Ge was thankful for the police in Zhujiang. The police might not represent justice, but Chen Ge knew that Li Zheng and Captain Yan were trying their best to uphold justice, and they had helped Chen Ge a lot. You say you know, but you'll do it again next time. Li Zheng shook his head helplessly. He was persuading Chen Ge from the bottom of his heart. Compared to him, who had the support of his family and colleagues, Chen Ge was alone. Let's not talk about that anymore. Brother Zheng, how did you find the body? Based on what you said, it was very easy. There was no one living on the 12th floor, but the monthly electricity bill was very high. We locked onto this place, and when we opened the door, we found the body inside the freezer. Has the culprit been caught? The suspect should be the owner, and the victim is his girlfriend who suffered from anorexia. When we received the news, we have already sent people over. If there are no accidents, we should be able to catch him tonight. The efficiency of the Zhujiang police was very high, and in a way, that had something to do with Chen Ge. That's good. At least I can give her an explanation. An explanation? Can I go in to take a look? This shouldn't be the primary crime scene, so there is no possibility of the evidence being destroyed. With Li Jung's permission, Chen Ge entered the room. The room was not big, and it was where the girl spent the last moments of her life. Walking through the living room, Chen Ge entered the kitchen and saw the freezer and fridge that were placed side by side. He was reminded of the words that the girl had told him that night, and his heart was pained. The person who harmed you will soon be punished by the law. He won't be able to escape. Just as Chen Ge said that, there was a very light knock on the door. Li Jung subconsciously turned to look behind him. Because of his ghost ear, Chen Ge turned to look at the freezer first. Opening the door, Chen Ge saw a thin girl curled up in the shadow of the freezer. Her arms were wrapped around her shoulders, and her head was slowly raised. Her pale face was covered in tears. The sun shone on her face, and her body became transparent, but she did not seem to mind it. It was as if she wanted to bathe her last moments in the light. Don't cry, you deserve a better life. Chen Ge put his hand into the freezer, trying to help her wipe her tears, but he didn't touch anything. The sunlight shone between them like a ravine that could never be crossed. It's okay, I'll take you home. Before the girl disappeared, Chen Ge took out the comic and put her inside. Looking at the empty freezer, Chen Ge spaced out for a while. What are you looking at? The corpses were indeed found here, but they have already been transported away. Li Jung walked over. It's nothing. Chen Ge picked up his backpack and waved at Li Jung. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. Do you think I called you over just to chat with you? I want you to tell me clearly what you did last night in full detail. After you're done with your statement and there's no problem, you can go back and wait for the next summons. Quote. When Chen Ge returned to New Century Park, it was already afternoon. After running between Eastern Zhejiang and Western Zhejiang, coupled with the fact that he had not slept for a whole night, he was very tired. My own haunted house is still the most comfortable. Lying in the staff break room, Chen Ge fell asleep before he knew it. No one disturbed him, and when Chen Ge opened his eyes again, the sky was already dark. It's already 8 p.m. I have to remember to set the alarm next time. Chen Ge pulled back the thin blanket that covered him and glanced at the door. The room was quiet, and the employees appeared to have left for work. He placed the white cat that was lying on him to the side and noticed a note left on the table. The handwriting was left behind by Xu Wan. We've already cleaned up the place. Have a good rest and remember to eat. Putting down the note, Chen Ge carried his backpack and walked out of the staff break room. He looked around every scenario. After confirming that there were no problems, he went to the prop room and found the picture that he had drawn during the day inside the wooden box in the corner. It was a normal picture, and there was no bad vibe attached to it. The date was written on the back of the picture, December 21st. The front of the picture was of a teenage boy. He was wearing a white shirt, and his face was blurred out. However, he gave off a very clean and sunny feeling. How am I supposed to find him? There isn't even an address. Chen Ge memorized the date and then stared at the picture. A fountain of light. This place looks like a park downtown. Without any other clues, Chen Ge decided to go downtown to take a look. Ever since he obtained the black phone, he rarely went to the city, and he usually went to the more secluded places. Before he could take out the things inside his backpack, Chen Ge put the picture away and ran out of the haunted house. He took a taxi to the city. The park in Chen Ge's memory was already fenced off like it was under construction, and only a small path was left open. Brother, why is this park fenced off? Can I still go in? Chen Ge found a man wearing a hard hat next to the fence. Why would I go in? This park is going to be demolished soon. Didn't you see the trees that are decades old have been moved away? The man looked like he was easy to talk to. It's going to be demolished. Chen Ge had found this place through the picture. If the park was demolished, the scenery in the picture would disappear, and his last clue would disappear. I heard they're going to build a supermarket, but I'm not too sure about the details. The man waved at Chen Ge. We're in the middle of construction, so you'd better not go in there. I have a friend who left me a picture of the park. He hasn't been feeling well recently, and he wants me to go to the park to help him take some pictures. Chen Ge walked down the empty path. I'll be out in a minute. The park was filled with large holes. The tiles had been turned over, and the valuable old trees had been dug away. Only weeds remained in the garden. Holding the picture, Chen Ge walked through the park based on the impression he had when he was young. He had been to this park before, but because it was too far from western Zhejiang, he had not been there that often. After walking around for a long time, Chen Ge finally found the place in the picture. However, the fountain had run out of water, and the lights around it had been removed, leaving behind rusted metal frames. Weeds grew out from the gaps between the tiles, and the ice cream and cotton candy shop in the picture had disappeared. The only thing that was similar to the picture was the bench next to the fountain. It's indeed the same place. Chen Ge walked past the fountain and looked around before sitting down on the bench. How am I supposed to find it now? He stared at the picture in his hand, and he was lost in it when a woman's voice came into his ears. I'm sorry, but do you know Fang Yu? Chen Ge turned to look, and he saw a quiet woman standing behind him. The woman was about the same age as Chen Ge. Her skin was very white, and her face, neck, and arms were covered in tattoos, but they only had one name, Fang Yu. It appeared like it was raining. In this small park that was about to be demolished, Chen Ge ran into a strange woman. Excuse me, do you know Fang Yu? That seemed to be the only thing the woman knew how to say. She looked at Chen Ge. The pair of clear eyes were like a lake on a plateau, devoid of any impurities. Fang Yu. Chen Ge took out the picture and handed it to the woman. Is this him? Holding the picture with both hands, the woman looked at the boy in the picture. She stared at it for a long time before shaking her head. I don't know. This picture was taken in the park. The boy was facing the camera, and the photographer was standing here. Chen Ge stood up and walked to the fountain. You still don't remember anything. The woman stood where she was, and there was only confusion in her eyes. Fine, perhaps I'm mistaken. Chen Ge returned to the bench, and the woman sat down on the bench after a while. She had the scent of shampoo on her, and her clothes were clean. She did not look like someone who could not survive on her own. Can I ask you a question? Chen Ge looked at the woman. The side of the woman's face was beautiful, but her cheeks were covered by a large amount of tattoos. It was breathtaking and scary at the same time. Why would you come here to look for Fang Yu at night? I seem to come here every day, but I don't know why I'm here. Then do you know that this park is about to be demolished? You might not be able to come here anymore. Chen Ge held the picture and looked at the woman. Hearing that, the woman did not answer. She looked at the name tattooed on the back of her hand. Why are you looking for Fang Yu? Is he your family? Chen Ge tried to communicate with the girl. He wanted to open the girl's heart. Only by understanding more could he help her. I don't remember, but I tattooed his name all over my body. I don't want to forget him. The rain was falling. Two strangers were sitting on a rusty bench in a dilapidated park. Actually, I know Fang Yu. Chen Ge lowered his head, and the woman next to him turned to look at him with surprise. You know Fang Yu. The woman stood up. Can you bring me to meet him? Sure, but before that, I want to confirm something with you. Chen Ge placed the picture before the girl again. Do you really have no impression of this boy at all? I noticed you staring at the photo for a long time just now. Quote. I have no impression of him. I have never seen him before, but, the woman pointed at the faceless boy in the picture. He seems to be very important to me. The woman's words struck Chen Ge like lightning. He thought back to the introduction on the black phone. The first time I forgot you was when I saw your picture. I don't remember who the person in the picture is, but I know he's important to me. Keep this photo safe. Chen Ge shoved the photo into the woman's hand. Why are you giving me a photo? The woman was puzzled. The faceless boy in the picture is Fang Yu. Chen Ge had been observing the woman's reaction. It was not until she found out that the boy in the picture was Fang Yu that the light returned to the woman's eyes. She was like a baby who had opened her eyes to see the world for the first time. The pair of clear eyes stared at the faceless boy in the picture. Can you help me find him? Of course, but it's too late now. It's not safe for you to be out here alone. I'll take you home first. Chen Ge was sure that the girl was not a ghost. Her body was warm. Holding the picture with both hands, the woman hesitated for a long time before she nodded. Okay. She did not put the picture in her pocket. She held the picture with both hands and walked out of the park. The woman looked quite scary. The pedestrians who saw her quickly moved away from her. She seemed to be afraid of strangers, and she tried to stay out of the light of the street lamps. She kept her head lowered like she did not want to cause trouble for others. Chen Ge had the woman walk on the inside of the street while he walked on the outside. He silently accompanied the woman across the street. They walked down many streets before stopping outside an old apartment building. Along the way, the woman kept her head lowered. She held the picture in her hands and did not say a word. Xiao Yu. Just as Chen Ge and the woman reached the bottom of the building, a very fat auntie ran out from the corridor with an umbrella. It's raining. I was going to pick you up. The auntie walked to the woman's side. She looked at the woman like she was looking at her own daughter. You're the one who brought her back, right? Thank you, kind person. The fat auntie smiled at Chen Ge. Xiao Yu, you should thank her as well. Quote. Wait a minute. Chen Ge very sensitively noticed a problem. Big sister, you just asked her what her name is. Xiao Yu. What's wrong? The auntie opened the umbrella and grabbed the woman's arm. She prepared to walk down the corridor, but to her surprise, the woman did not want to go back. In fact, she flung the auntie's hand away. Perhaps it was because the woman had never resisted before, but she was acting strangely that day. The auntie was confused. Xiao Yu, it's raining. Let's go back. Just as the auntie was persuading the woman patiently, the woman suddenly turned around. She gripped the picture in her hands and screamed, I am not Fang Yu. You've got the wrong person. I'm also looking for him. Quote. How could you not be Fang Yu? Did someone say something to you? The way the auntie looked at Chen Ge turned unfriendly. She could not persuade Fang Yu, so she walked to stand before Chen Ge. Did you say something to her? Are you happy to bully a girl like this? Quote. Big sister, you seem to have misunderstood. She is not Fang Yu. Chen Ge had come to this conclusion based on the black phone's introduction. He did not think that the black phone would give him false information. Then take a look for yourself. The auntie reached into the left pocket of the woman's shirt and took out a light red wallet. She opened the wallet, and inside was the woman's ID. I don't know what you're thinking, but I'm telling you, with your auntie here today, you won't be able to come up with any evil ideas. Chen Ge glanced at it. The name on the woman's ID was indeed Fang Yu. She is Fang Yu. If she's not Fang Yu, then are you. But she's obviously looking for someone. So, you're using this to trick her. The auntie stood before Xiao Yu to protect her. I don't care what your goal is, but hurry up and leave. Or else I'm going to call for help. Quote. Hearing the argument, the window on the first floor suddenly opened. An old man stood by the window. What's the commotion? What's going on? Quote. Someone wants to bully Xiao Yu. Bully Xiao Yu. The old man did not even close the window. After a while, he ran out from the stairwell in slippers, holding the taiji sword. Is he the one who bullied Xiao Yu? Everyone, please calm down. When Chen Ge saw the auntie and the old man, he quickly explained, I'm not bullying her. I'm helping her. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. You can help Xiao Yu. The auntie and the old man studied Chen Ge from head to toe. What do you do for a living? Are you a brain doctor? Quote. I own a haunted house, but please believe me. Chen Ge looked at the auntie and the old man with sincerity. If you own a haunted house, why are you here? Leave now. The old man held the taiji sword with both hands. If you don't leave now, I'll draw my sword. Quote. Don't worry, can you give me 10 minutes? Just 10 minutes. Chen Ge took out his phone to search for news about him helping the police. Look at the news, the person standing next to the police in the picture is me. I'm such a good person. Helping others. Many times. The auntie and the old man compared the picture with Chen Ge for a long time before they believed Chen Ge. Why are you looking for Xiao Yu? I really want to help her. Can you bring me to meet her parents? When Chen Ge realized that the woman's body was warm, he immediately realized that the ghost that he was looking for was the boy in the picture. Xiao Yu grew up in an orphanage. She has no parents. Then, does she have any other family? Who is taking care of her while she lives here? Who provides her house? Chen Ge believed that with the woman's current condition, it would be very difficult for her to live on her own. Someone should be taking care of her. We've never heard Xiao Yu mention anything about her family. She was abandoned at the old city 10 years ago. At the time, she was just a little girl. She stood alone in the middle of the road. A few officers and I sent her to the police station. Then, the workers from the orphanage came. They were not willing to take Xiao Yu in. I couldn't stand them, so I temporarily let Xiao Yu stay at my house. The auntie was a kind and generous person. 10 years ago. The time span was too long, and Chen Ge did not know where to start. 10 years was a long period of time for anyone. It was long enough for them to forget the happiness and sorrow they had felt at that time, as well as many things that they had once considered precious. Has she been like this for the past 10 years? Chen Ge looked at the woman at the entrance of the stairwell. She was holding the picture with both hands, and her eyes were fixed on the faceless boy in the picture. She seemed to be reminiscing, but at the same time, it seemed like she was just looking at him. Yes, Xiao Yu suffers from amnesia. In order to find out the reason, I personally went to the orphanage where she used to live to ask about it. That group of people said that Xiao Yu's memory has been very poor since he was very young. He can't even remember the names of the children in the house. He's also very forgetful and often makes mistakes. The plump lady sighed. I don't know if they said that on purpose, or if the illness will worsen on its own. Ever since Xiao Yu stayed with me, his condition worsened. Has the amnesia gotten worse? Yes, she was forgetting everything. In the end, she couldn't even remember her own name. It was also on that day that she, the chubby auntie, paused as she looked at Xiao Yu with a pained expression. It was also on that day that she started tattooing her name on her body. The name seemed to have a special meaning to her. She would never forget it no matter what. Who gave her that name? The orphanage. Quote. No, according to legend, when Fang Yu was abandoned at the hospital, there was 271 RMB stuffed inside her pocket and a letter. In the letter, her name was Fang Yu. The chubby auntie remembered these things very clearly. She was very concerned about Fang Yu and had personally visited many places. That letter. Before Chen Ge could ask, the chubby auntie already knew what Chen Ge was going to say. That letter is long gone. Now, the only clue that can help Fang Yu find her parents is her name, Fang Yu. Is that why she tattooed Fang Yu's name all over her body? No, you must have missed something. Chen Ge stood in the rain. A birth parent that she has never met is not worth searching for alone. Deep in her memory, there is another person that she refuses to forget. She thinks that person's name is Fang Yu. She does not want to forget that person. Chen Ge signaled for the chubby auntie and the old man to go to the woman's side. Do you know this boy in the picture? He doesn't even have a face. How do you expect us to recognize him? You can tell from his size, height, and hairstyle. After Fang Yu moved here, has there been a boy like this? Chen Ge spoke quickly. Fang Yu rarely interacts with other people. Every night, she would go to the park in the city. How would she know a boy like this? Every night. Are you sure? Quote. I'm sure. Other than going to the doctor in the morning, Fang Yu never leaves the house. Even for her tattoos, she only goes there at night. The information that you've provided is very important. Chen Ge understood one thing. Before Fang Yu moved here, she already knew the man in the picture. They had gone to the park in the city together. Fang Yu looked about the same age as Chen Ge. The boy in the picture was about 17 or 18. 10 years ago, Fang Yu should have been younger than this boy. Fang Yu used to live in an orphanage, which means that the boy in the picture probably grew up in an orphanage as well. They are friends who grew up together. The rain became heavier, and the droplets slid down Chen Ge's face. Big sister, do you know which orphanage Fang Yu used to live in? It is Zhujiang's children's home. It used to be a private orphanage, and it was not very formal. But in recent years, it has improved a lot. Zhujiang's children's home. That's where Fang Yu is staying now. I understand now. Chen Ge prepared to take the picture away, but the woman suddenly tightened her grip. Fang Yu, I know you want to meet the man in the picture. I will go and bring him to you now. Chen Ge pressed lightly on the woman's hand. Perhaps he also wants to meet you. The woman slowly let go. Chen Ge put the picture away and walked out of the residential area in the rain. Wait a minute. The auntie let Fang Yu enter the stairwell first. Then she ran over with the umbrella. Take the umbrella. I wonder how long this rain will last. Thank you. The backpack contained the comic and the picture, so Chen Ge did not say anything more. You don't need to thank me. Auntie saw it very clearly. You wanted to take the picture away, but Xiao Yu refused to let go. This is the first time she has cared so much about something. The auntie shoved the umbrella into Chen Ge's hands. She grabbed Chen Ge's hands. Please, you have to help her, you know. On the first day that the child forgot her name, she broke the teacup and used the porcelain to carve the name Fang Yu on her body. Every morning, when she woke up, she would forget everything. She kept repeating the same day. No matter what, she had to remember that name. To prevent her from hurting herself, I took her to get the tattoo. Quote. I understand. I will get to the bottom of this. Chen Jade turned to look at the stairwell. The woman was still staring at the name on the back of her hand. For other people, 10 years was a long time, but for her, she had repeated the same day for 10 years. Holding the umbrella, Chen Jie entered the city in the rain. He had no idea whether he was there for the mission or to help the woman. Perhaps it was both. He took the bus to Zhujiang's children's home. Even though it was already past the visiting time, due to various reasons, Chen Jie knew the guard at the door and one of the teachers who took care of Fan Yu. After waiting for several minutes, Chen Jie was led into the children's home by the teacher. Are you here to pick up Fan Yu? The boy's condition has improved a lot. I have no idea what has happened to him, but he no longer locks himself up in his room and tries to communicate with others. His drawings are not as scary as before. Other than black and red, he has started to use other colors. The teacher was very happy, and she kept praising Fan Yu. Chen Jie did not know whether Fan Yu's change had anything to do with the painter at the School of the Afterlife or not. Perhaps the knot in his heart had been unraveled, or perhaps the painter had snuck out from the door after leaving the school and met Fan Yu. Anything was possible. The painter was an existence that could not be understood. I'm here for something else. Chen Jie entered the room with the teacher. He put away the umbrella and took out the picture from his backpack. Can you bring me to meet the headmaster? I have something important to ask him. The headmaster has already returned home. You can ask me anything. There is nothing that I do not know about this children's home. I want to know something that happened 10 years ago. At the time, this children's home was still a private orphanage. You should still be in school, right? 10 years ago. The teacher thought about it. How about you go and ask the guard? He has been here for the longest time. When it was still a private orphanage, he was already the guard. Quote. Okay. Chen Jie invited the guard into the room and handed the picture to the old man. Do you remember this boy? He doesn't even have a face. How am I supposed to look at him? The guard held the picture close to his eyes, and his wrinkles squeezed together. Who can remember something from 10 years ago? Think about it. Was there a girl with a bad memory at the orphanage? This guy should be the girl's best friend. Hearing Chen Jie's words, the wrinkles on the guard's face deepened. He thought for a while and suddenly patted Chen Jie's arm. I think there was such a girl, let me see the photos again. The guard held the picture with both hands and looked at it for a long time. I still can't remember this boy, but I do remember the girl that you mentioned. She was abandoned by her parents when she was very young. According to legend, the reason for her abandonment was due to a congenital lack of brain function. Her memory was very poor, and she was very forgetful. Congenital brain dysfunction? This was a new term for Chen Jie. It was his first time hearing it. That's what I heard. The girl is very pretty and well behaved, but she's forgetful. Many children have been adopted, but she's the only one who's been staying in the orphanage. The guard slowly remembered more things. From the age of 2 to 10, she lived at the orphanage for more than 10 years. Probably because she missed the best treatment period, the girl's illness worsened. Initially, she could still remember the names of her friends and teachers. With the teacher's training, she could not only take care of herself, but she could also help out. Even though the girl's memory was bad, she was very diligent. She never fought back when she was bullied, so the orphanage allowed her to stay and help out. But who would have thought her condition would get worse and worse? She couldn't even remember people's faces, and she only had the basic ability to survive. She couldn't do anything that was slightly more complicated. She was already old, and she couldn't help much. She needed someone to take care of her, and slowly, everyone's attitude toward her changed. The children at this private orphanage were very young, and she stood out like a sore thumb. I don't know what the leader was thinking. He knew that the girl had a bad memory, but he still asked her to guard the door with me. The leader said that he wanted to find something for her to do so that she wouldn't become a useless person, but I have a feeling that the leader's real intention was to give up on her. He even hoped that she would get lost. At this point, the guard sighed. Hoped that she would get lost. How did you know that was the leader's intention? If that was the case, then the nature of Fang Yu's life had completely changed. Chen Ge believed that was when Fang Yu's change started. The leader gave me some missions to deliver mail. I ran around and left her to guard the door alone. One time, when I came back, the girl was not at the door or in the house. I ran all around the orphanage and finally found her under a big tree at the back of the mountain. I was very angry at the time. I asked her why she was running around, and she said there was a kite flying very high. I was really scared. Thankfully, the kite ended up hanging on the tree and didn't fly too far. Even after so many years, the old man still sighed when he thought about it. The girl had left a deep impression on him. Sir, when she was guarding the door with you, did any boys come to accompany her? Maybe they were very friendly to her. Quote. No, she was always alone. This is going to be difficult. Chen Ge looked at the picture in his hand and thought back to the conversation earlier. He tried to find clues that he had missed. Sir, you said that the first time Fang Yu got lost was because she saw the kite and chased after it. Based on her personality, she shouldn't be running around, so why did she chase after the kite? Does she like kites that much? Could the kite be some kind of signal? Quote. You're overthinking it. The old man was about to say something when his eyes suddenly widened. Oh, right, the kite. There was a boy at the orphanage who had a good relationship with Fang Yu. The boy was a chatterbox, and he seemed to suffer from some kind of disease. He liked to repeat the same thing over and over again. It was fine the first time, but anyone would get sick of hearing the same thing every day. Quote. So, that boy found Fang Yu. Yes, Fang Yu has a bad memory. She would forget the things that the boy repeated the next day, and it felt like it was the first day. With Chen Ge's reminder, the old man finally remembered something from the past. They should be friends, but their fates were different. Fang Yu's illness worsened, but the boy's illness slowly returned to normal as he grew older. However, even if the boy returned to normal, he still liked to hang out with Fang Yu. He was 3 years older than Fang Yu, and he would be the first to confront anyone who bullied Fang Yu. Quote. But what does that have to do with the kite? Where is the boy now? Chen Ge had a feeling that the ghost that he was looking for was the boy. I can't remember which year it was. The teacher brought the children from the orphanage on a spring outing. They were flying kites next to a dam in eastern Zhejiang. The boy and Fang Yu's kite fell into the forest. The two of them went into the forest to look for it, and then the boy disappeared. We only found the unconscious Fang Yu. Quote. Disappeared. Chen Ge frowned. If the boy had disappeared, then his lead would be cut off. After Fang Yu woke up, we asked her. She said that she and the boy went into the forest to look for the kite. They saw a small path that led to a house filled with flowers, and there was the sound of children laughing. The kite fell on the fence of the house. When they went to retrieve it, a group of children that they did not know grabbed them and tried to drag them into the house. At the last moment, the boy pushed Fang Yu out, and then he voluntarily closed the door. Quote. Other people might not have thought much of what the old man said, but Chen Ge was different. He had been to the little house that was filled with flowers next to the dam before. At the time, he was in primary school, and he had just moved from eastern Zhejiang to western Zhejiang for a year. His parents had forbidden him from going to eastern Zhejiang, but that day was a school trip. It was the same eastern Zhejiang dam, and it was the same house filled with flowers and children's laughter. Chen Ge was able to escape death that time because he had a doll that he had made himself. Inside the doll lived Director Luo's daughter, the current guardian spirit of New Century Park. It should be the same place. Chen Ge did not expect Fang Yu and the boy to have been there as well. Their past had crossed paths with his own. The item that I've won this time does not appear to be that simple. Chen Ge picked up his backpack, but he did not act rashly. Gentlemen, I need you to help me with something. What is it? The teacher had a good impression of Chen Ge, and he thought that Chen Ge was a kind person. Can you find the boy's information? I have a date here. It might be his birthday. Chen Ge turned the picture, and the date written on the back was December 21st. I'll try my best, but don't get your hopes up. Thank you. After saying goodbye to the teacher and the guard, Chen Ge opened the umbrella, grabbed the backpack, and ran out of the children's home. It's not too late to take revenge for the things that happened in primary school. He did not stop and called a taxi to Eastern Zhejiang's dam. Every time I come to a place like this in Eastern Zhejiang, the weather is always bad. It's either raining or windy. The taxi dropped Chen Ge outside the dam and then sped away. He walked alone by the roadside with the umbrella. The memory of his childhood was blurry, but thankfully, the place had not changed that much. The river flowed quietly, and the rain fell on his body. The surroundings were dark. Since Chen Ge had yin-yang vision, he did not turn on the lights. It was as if he had melded into the darkness. I remember that we entered this forest. Chen Ge had no idea what had happened to the dam in the past few years, but the place had become more deserted than before. The original tenants had all moved away, and the forest had become connected to the back of the mountain. Pressing the play button on the recorder, he flipped through the comic to summon the headless woman and foul odor. Then, Chen Ge entered the forest. The rain fell on the leaves, and the sound of dripping echoed in his ears. It felt like the forest and the outside world were two different worlds. As soon as he entered the forest, Shuyin appeared without a sound before he walked far. Chen Ge did not call his name, but he had appeared on his own. This meant that he had sensed something dangerous, and the person was able to kill Chen Ge before he appeared. There was nothing out of place, but the few red specters behaved strangely, like danger was lurking around them. The leaves ruffled by the wind, and the rain slid down the leaves. Chen Ge walked for a long time in the forest. He had even lost the concept of time. The deeper he went into the forest, the lower the temperature became, and the surroundings became quiet. Shu Yin walked at the front. Fresh blood mixed with the rain. He pushed aside the dried branches, and a rugged path appeared before him. Wilted flowers grew on both sides of the path, and at the end of the path, there was a gray little house. When I was young, I brought the doll that I made with me here. You did not kill me but heavily injured the doll. I have always been a fair person. Today, I will not kill you. I will beat you until you are on the brink of death before sucking you into the comic. Quote. In the rainy night, the few red specters followed beside Chen Ge, and the group moved forward silently. This place does not appear to be easily discovered. If not for Shu Yin leading the way, I would not have been able to enter this place so easily. Approaching the little house, the blurry image in Chen Ge's memory matched up with reality. The things that he had almost forgotten resurfaced in his mind, and they had never been so clear before. Be careful. He had almost been killed here, so Chen Ge was very careful. He felt like he was getting closer to the truth. The fence of the small yard had been pushed down, and it was covered in moss. There were many empty flower pots in the yard. These flower pots were quite interesting. All of them were the same size, and they were just big enough to fit an adult's head. Other than the flower pots, there were some entertainment facilities in the yard. There was a broken wooden horse, a rusted seesaw, and a swing with a broken string. Looks like no one has been here for a long time. It was good that it was abandoned. It meant that no more children had been killed. Walking through the muddy path, Chen Ge pushed open the door to the gray little house. A faint stench wafted out of the house. Chen Ge's nose twitched. He stood at the door and did not go in. I've smelled this stench in Liwan City before. It's very unique, and I can't describe it. It's not as strong as the stench of a dead body, but there's a chill to it that makes one's lungs tremble after inhaling it. Using yin-yang vision, Chen Ge looked into the house. Most of the furniture in the house had been destroyed, and the floor was littered with debris and children's torn clothes. This house shouldn't have been like this in the beginning. Chen Ge looked at the mess on the ground, but another scene appeared in his mind. The same room was filled with the laughter of children. The walls were covered with light blue and pink wallpaper. The table was not high, but it was filled with toys and good food. Has the ghost that lived here left? Chen Ge was about to walk into the house when his cell phone suddenly vibrated. The caller ID showed an unknown number. I have both Inspector Lee and Captain Yan's number, so it shouldn't be the police. Who would call me at this time? Pressing the answer button, a boy's clear voice came from the other side of the phone. Chen Ge, when are you coming to take me home? Fan Yu. Chen Ge did not know how to react. Mr. Chen, it's me. We just met earlier. A familiar voice came from the other side of the phone. It was the worker from the children's home. Fan Yu, I need to talk to you first. Did you find anything on your end? Chen Ge had left his phone number with the children's home. He was not surprised that they could contact him, but the fact that Fan Yu, who did not like to talk, had voluntarily called his name surprised him, and at the same time, he was a little happy. A big discovery. The files and treatments from before Zhujiang's children's home were all locked inside the storeroom. We focused on the files related to Fang Yu, and we discovered that one of the children in her class is missing. One of the children's information is missing. Yes, it's like they've been completely erased. You might not believe this, but the number of patients is always one less. In the group photo, there is a boy's face that is blurred out, just like the picture you showed me. The worker from the children's home gave Chen Ge a very important hint. I've just called the seniors who worked at the orphanage at the time. Everyone has an impression of the talkative boy and knows about his existence, but no one can remember what he looks like. Did everyone forget what he looked like? Not only his appearance, but his name, age, and so on. Other than that, did you find any other clues? I heard from one of the seniors that the boy was very talkative when he was young, but after he grew up, he slowly became normal. Everyone thought that he had recovered, but that was not the case. The worker revealed another secret. His illness worsened, but as he grew up, he understood that people did not like him that way, so he suppressed his true nature. The senior saw with her own eyes that the boy would run to a deserted corner and mumble to himself. He even formed the habit of keeping a diary. She once sneaked a peek at it. The diary was filled with words, and many of the sentences were illogical. She had no idea what the boy was trying to express. Quote, "Can we still find the diary? It should be very difficult. I'll call again. Talk to you later." The worker hung up. Chen Ge stood at the door and looked at the room that was completely different from the one in his memory. No one can remember his name and face. Why would something like this happen? Everyone seemed to have forgotten about him, but Fang Yu, who had the worst memory, remembered him and kept looking for him. After entering the house, the stench became even stronger. The first floor was a place for children to play. Chen Ge did not find anything there. With Xu Yin's accompaniment, he headed up to the second floor. When they reached the wooden staircase, Chen Ge covered his nose and mouth. The unique and intense stench came from the second floor. Let's go up and take a look. The wooden staircase had been built for many years. Stepping on it creaked noisily like it could collapse at any moment. As they moved up the stairs, Chen Ge noticed that words started to appear on the wooden staircase. They looked like they were carved out by bloody fingernails. Fang Yu. The words on the staircase became denser. When Chen Ge reached the second floor, his eyes widened, and he was stunned. The floor, the walls, and the ceiling of the second floor of the hut were carved with Fang Yu's name. At that moment, not far away from Chen Ge, a man was lying on the ground, using his bloody fingers to press on the ground. He was focused. He knelt on the ground, and there was an altar on his back. The altar looked similar to the ones at the futuristic theme park, but the head of the statuette inside the altar had not fallen off, and it did not have Chen Ge's name written on it. Instead, it had the name Fang Yu. Be careful, pay attention to the altars on his back. Quote. The altars that he had seen at the futuristic theme park appeared again. Chen Ge suspected that there were more altars hidden in eastern Zhujiang. Demon specters are above red specters, so it's understandable for them to have altars, but why would there be a mud statuette inside each of them? The statuette should have been made by the same person. The craftsmanship was rough, like it was made by a child. One could barely make out the shape of a human. Altars, mud statuettes, who set these up? They seem to have a special liking for children. Is there really a ghost that specializes in eating children? Quote. Just as Chen Ge was thinking, the man kneeling on the ground discovered him. The hand that was carving the name stopped. The man slowly turned his head to reveal a featureless face. It was like a blank piece of paper. Other than the color, there was nothing else. On a stormy night, inside a room filled with names, there was a faceless monster carrying an altar. If not for the fact that Shu Yin was standing next to him, Chen Ge would have left the moment the man raised his head. The face was blank, and there was no expression. It was impossible to guess what the man was thinking and what he would do. The monster had no ears, so Chen Ge had no idea whether it could hear him or not. The monster also had no mouth, so it could not even communicate. After a short pause, the monster that was kneeling on the ground suddenly pushed off the ground and crawled toward Chen Ge. Shu Yin. Actually, before Chen Ge said anything, Shu Yin was already standing before Chen Ge. His upper body leaned forward, and black and red veins surfaced on the back of his hand. He pressed on the monster's head with one hand. The tip of his finger pierced into the monster's face like a blade. The skin was cut open, but there was no blood. Black threads crawled out from the wound on the monster's face and curled around Shu Yin's pale hand. A curse. Each thread was carved with a wailing human face. It was similar to the one that Chen Ge had seen when he fought the shadow in Liwan City. Such a vicious curse is hidden under a face as white as paper. As expected, the evilest soul is usually hidden under the purest appearance. Shu Yin was not that good at dealing with curses, but Chen Ge had a red specter that could deal with curses. He took out the red high heels from his backpack and placed them lightly on the ground. You seem to feed on curses. Try this and see if you like it. Leaving the headless woman beside him, Chen Ge did not give her the chance to struggle. At the same time, he released Shu Yin, the red high heels, and foul odor. The three red specters attacked at the same time, and the faceless monster was instantly suppressed. The blood vessels were like spiderwebs and sharp blades that pinned the faceless monster to the ground. If he moved, his body would be torn apart. However, the monster did not surrender just because of that. He did not seem to have any self-consciousness, and he could not feel pain or sadness. The wounds on his body continued to increase, but he still dared to attack the three red specters. This guy is not a red specter, but he is surprisingly difficult to deal with. He seems to have been given some kind of order to protect the altar. Chen Ge had dealt with many ghosts, so he noticed the problem with one glance. Ignore him for now. Take down the altar, but be careful not to damage the mud statuette inside. When the target changed from the monster to the altar, the room started to change. The names that were carved on the walls started to leak blood. In just a few seconds, the walls and ground of the second floor were dyed red. The stench in the air thickened, and the monster that was pinned to the ground started to struggle. He actively touched the blood vessels left behind by the red specters, and he cut open many ghastly wounds on his body. Countless black threads crawled out from the wounds and gathered together like the tongue of a giant beast, trying to wrap around the altar. With 4 red specters, Chen Ge thought that victory was within his grasp, but as time moved on, the situation became more complicated. A scary number of cursed threads surrounded the red high heels. The more wounds the monster had, the scarier the curse that came out from his body. The red high heels, who was covered in bandages, became the monster's main target. If that was all, Chen Ge would not have cared. All the curses on the second floor combined could only stop the red high heels. Shu Yin, foul odor, and the headless woman, the 3 red specters, did not become the target of the curse. With 3 red specters around, the monster could not turn the tables no matter what. The difference between a red specter and a red specter was not something that could be overcome by numbers. Even Yan Danian, who could control many specters at the same time, could only be called the strongest specter below the red specter level. But soon, Chen Ge noticed that something was wrong. Foul odor and Shu Yin, who were attacking the faceless monster, were acting strangely, and the headless woman beside him was acting strangely as well. The stench of blood thickened. Other than the red high heels, the other 3 red specters stopped hiding their presence. They started to show their bloodiest side. Is there danger around us? Have they sensed something scary? Quote. The room was still the same room. With his yin-yang vision, ghost ear, and spirit sniff, Chen Ge was certain that there was nothing around them, just the few of them. If there is no danger, why would they act like this? After staying at the haunted house for a long time, these red specters would habitually hide their presence. They would subconsciously not think about the pain and despair, and they would accompany Chen Ge in a new way. Of course, this process was not completed in a short period of time. With Chen Ge's guidance and accompaniment, the two sides had built up a kind of trust. But now, that trust was covered up by something, and the most precious thing seemed to have been shattered. A bone-chilling chill came from her back. The headless woman's eyes that looked at Chen Ge became confused. Red and white intertwined in her eyes. Something seemed to be affecting her, causing her to forget who the person before her was. If the person standing before her was not Chen Ge but a normal person, what would she do? What would a soul filled with despair do when she was reminded of the painful past? The answer was obvious. Chen Ge tried to communicate with the headless woman, trying to keep her conscious, but the effect was not good. The headless woman was far away from the altar and the monster, so she was not affected that much. However, things were different for Shu Yin and Foul Odor, who were preparing to take out the mud statuette from the altar. They were in a bad situation. Scary faces appeared on their red shirts, and the two red specters were on the verge of going berserk. This monster's power can affect red specters. Chen Ge had not encountered something like this before. Even Yan Danian, who was acknowledged by the Black Phone to be the strongest lesser red specter, had a very weak effect on red specters. The three red specters have problems with their minds. His power can affect red specters' minds. No, based on the headless woman's situation, the way she looks at me is so strange. It feels like she has forgotten the memory between us. Quote. Chen Ge had a bad feeling, and a speculation appeared in his heart. Could this monster's power be to fade certain memories? The reason Chen Ge was able to come up with this was because of Fang Yu. As Fang Yu grew older, her memory had deteriorated. The monster's power should be related to his memory. With the help of the altar and the curse, he has gained some kind of enhancement. Chen Ge discovered the crux of the problem. All the curses in the room are moving toward the red high heels. Obviously, he knows that his power has very little effect on the red high heels. But why is the red high heels immune to his power? Could it be that his power itself is a kind of curse? Quote. No matter what the reason was, Chen Ge knew that he could not drag this on any longer. The man was trying his best to protect the altar, so if Chen Ge wanted to break out of this situation, he would have to turn his attention to the altar. Shu Yin, get the altar off that thing. Quote. Hearing Chen Ge's voice, the pain in Shu Yin's eyes intensified. He forced himself to grab the edge of the altar, but when he touched the altar, something that no one expected happened. The clay statuette inside the altar that looked like a child's hand suddenly opened its eyes. The death character on the altar started to bleed, and a thin crack appeared on the chest of the statuette where Fang Yu's name was written. When the statuette inside the altar opened its eyes, other than the red high heels, the other red specters in the room were in even more pain. They appeared to be repeating the tragedy that they had experienced when they were alive, reliving that suffocating despair. Wounds appeared on Shu Yin's red specter like a knife was trying to slice him in half. The headless woman held her neck with both of her hands like there was an invisible wound on her neck. The worst was Foul Odor. The boy's body was expanding, and his eyes were filled with black and red blood. The condition of the three red specters worsened, and this was completely out of Chen Ge's expectation. Only a demon god can wipe the memory of three red specters at the same time. This thing's power is related to memory. It is probably with the help of the statuette inside the altar that he was able to wipe away the red specters' memory in such a short amount of time. Even then, Chen Ge was very calm. This kind of erasure is probably temporary. When he stops using his power or the mud statuette inside the altar is destroyed, the red specter's memory will recover. The memory erasure was temporary, but even if it was a temporary memory loss, it would put Chen Ge in a very dangerous situation. A red specter who was stimulated by hatred and despair might kill Chen Ge directly. The monster's power is still increasing. Shu Yin and the others are getting worse. Now, Chen Ge had two choices in front of him. The first was to bide his time. Cracks kept appearing on the clay statuette in the altar. The monster's ability was a burden to the statuette. Once the mud statue crumbled, the monster's ability would naturally disappear. This choice was tantamount to leaving his life in the hands of others. Chen Ge did not like doing this, so he chose the second method, which was to find a way to get the clay figurine out of the shrine himself. I regret not bringing Dr. Skullcracker's hammer. After a few days of peace, I have become so careless. I will definitely remember this lesson. The second method was very dangerous, but Chen Ge decided to take this risk. Be it Shu Yin, foul odor, or the headless woman, they were all Chen Ge's family. Seeing the pain on his family's faces, Chen Ge felt like he had to do something. I have finally shown them the light of the world, and you want them to forget that. Chen Ge did not want the red specters around him to experience the despair that they had when they were still alive. He used yin-yang vision to look at the black lines that were covered in curses. All the curses are leaning toward the red high heels. There are no curses at the spot between foul odor and Shu Yin, and the monster is pinned to the ground. He shouldn't be able to attack me. The inner wall of the altar is carved with the word, death, and the mud statuette is stained with some black blood. I cannot touch these things. Chen Ge looked at the small door that was opened by the altar. I can only ram into the altar from the side and see if I can knock the altar off the monster's body or knock the mud statuette out from inside the altar. If this continued, one of the three red specters might go on a rampage, and Chen Ge might be caught in the crossfire. He could only take this risk while the red specter's memory was still intact. Taking one step forward, Chen Ge suddenly picked up speed and rushed to the altar. Before he could make his next move, the monster that was pinned to the ground suddenly raised its wounded face. Looking at the featureless face, Chen Ge was dazed for a moment, but soon, Chen Ge came to and slammed into the altar. The mud statuette with Fang Yu's name swayed inside the altar. The altar was much heavier than Chen Ge expected, so he did not manage to knock it over. A thick stench of blood drifted over. A large fat hand slowly rose. Foul odor, whose body had expanded several times, stared at Chen Ge. Chen Ge's image appeared in his blood-red eyes, but under the stimulation of anger and pain, the image of Chen Ge in his eyes was slowly changing until it took on the appearance of an unfamiliar middle-aged man. Daddy, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. The raised palm aimed directly at Chen Ge's head. Foul odor's nostrils flared, and a man's dried face appeared in the middle of the palm. The red specter was too fast. Chen Ge did not have time to dodge. The fat hand in his eyes was slowly growing, and suddenly, a figure blocked before him. Bang! Blood splattered everywhere. The 10 fingers cut off foul odor's hand from the wrist like blades. Does it hurt? The thin Shu Yin lowered his arms. The wounds on his body had completely opened. His face was twisted, and there was only madness and pain left in his eyes. He had completely lost his mind, but even so, he still stood before Chen Ge. The blood-red heart in his chest continued to beat. Countless blood vessels bloomed in the room like nightmarish flowers from the abyss. Suppression. This was the absolute suppression that belonged to Shu Yin. A crisp sound came from inside the altar. Due to Shu Yin's intense resistance, an obvious crack appeared on the mud statuette, and the crack pierced through the whole statuette. Chen Ge did not expect Shu Yin to still stand before him after losing his memory. Perhaps at some point in time, he had become the only person that Shu Yin trusted in this world. Without wasting this opportunity, Chen Ge slammed into the altar again. The cracked mud statuette knocked into the altar's small door, and the bloody words on the wall seemed to be affected. The headless woman, who was furthest away, was the first to recover her memory. She remembered Chen Ge's request very clearly. She appeared next to the altar in the blink of an eye and pulled the mud statuette out from it. The moment the altar left the mud statuette, all the bloody words in the room returned to normal, and the curse that entangled the red high heels slowly dissipated. The mud statuette was retrieved by the headless woman. The faceless monster on the ground struggled with all his might, but his limbs were torn off by Shu Yin. Foul odor also returned to normal. The broken hands on the ground dissolved into blood vessels. Looking at his newly grown hands, regret flashed across his eyes. As if to express his apology, foul odor grabbed the monster on the ground. He was about to finish him off when he saw another face underneath the wound on the monster's face. The face was wrapped in the curse. The eyes were closed, and the expression was one of pain. Don't panic. Can you get the man wrapped in the curse out? The most dangerous thing inside the house was the mud statuette. Now that the statuette was in the hands of the headless woman, she had no chance to fight back. The faceless monster had almost killed Chen Ge under the protection of the 4 red specters. Even though the altar and the statuette had played a part in that, it indirectly proved how powerful the faceless man was. He could erase certain memories. If this power was used properly, it would be of great help to Chen Ge. It is rare to see a specter with such a scary power, and the key is that he is not a red specter. When he becomes a red specter, this power will become even scarier. Quote. From how Chen Ge saw it, if Yan Danian was the strongest specter below the red specter level, then the faceless man should be the second strongest specter below the red specter level. The quality of the specters that I've drawn from the Wheel of Misfortune is getting higher and higher. After consuming the remaining curse, the red high heels and foul odor worked together to drag the man out from the faceless monster's body. His body was covered in cursed threads. Earlier, it was like he was wrapped in a cocoon. When all the cursed threads disappeared, the man collapsed on the ground. He was thin and did not look that old, like he had just come of age. Can you hear me? Chen Ge squatted down before the man. After the man escaped from the curse, his body became transparent like he could disappear at any moment. I did not come to save you out of kindness. I was asked to do so by someone. The man's eyes were still closed. It was like he had experienced something similar before, but he had been tricked before, and now he had given up hope. It was Fang Yu who asked me to come find you. She carved your name all over her body. Every day, she would go to the park in the city and wait for you on the bench. Chen Ge's voice grew louder. Now that the park is about to be demolished, last night should be the last time she went to wait for you. The man's expression did not change much, but his eyelids moved slightly. Fang Yu's illness is getting worse. Perhaps before she dies, her biggest wish is to see you. She has many things to say to you. You are her best friend and her only friend. Chen Ge did not know what he had said that had triggered the man. Perhaps it was when he had said that Fang Yu would die. His eyelids fluttered faster and faster, and the man lying on the ground finally opened his eyes. His eyes were very special, like those of a cat. There were 2 thin vertical lines in the depths of his pupils. If one looked at them for a long time, it seemed as if they would suck people in. Fang Yu, Fang Yu. Repeating this name over and over again, the man's mind slowly returned to normal. After so many years, perhaps it was this word that had supported him and kept him from losing his obsession. After a long time, the man looked up at Chen Ge and his lips moved slightly. She still hasn't forgotten me. Once she remembers me, that person will look for her. This is the curse that person placed in my body. Quote. Her memory is very poor, but even if she forgot her own name, she did not forget you. It was a simple sentence without any embellishment. After Chen Ge said it, the man on the ground slowly lowered his head. He closed his eyes again. For the past 10 years, she has been repeating the memory of the day you left. She has been going through the same pain every day. Even if you don't think for yourself, you have to think for her, right? Do you really think that your choice is for her own good? Chen Ge sat down before the man. He had spared the man's life because he thought the man's power was unique, and he wanted the man to meet Fang Yu. I am protecting her. There is a ghost that has its eyes on Fang Yu. You don't understand how scary he is, you don't know. Is the specter that you're talking about an invisible shadow? Chen Ge perked up. What the man was going to say next should be related to the altar. He is like a person's shadow, but he can grow on his own, and he has a physical body. Most importantly, he is so powerful that he can make others despair. The man was lying on the ground, and his voice was filled with exhaustion. That thing is looking for the right person to possess. When I was playing with Fang Yu would often hear someone calling her name. The voice came from the east. At first, I did not pay it much attention, but one day, we came to play next to the dam in eastern Zhujiang. Fang Yu heard the voice again. She seemed to have lost herself, and she wandered deeper into the forest. I followed behind her. Then we saw this house. The door was open, and there were many children staring at us with that scary smile. I felt that something was wrong, so I dragged Fang Yu out, but Fang Yu did not react at all. In the end, we were both dragged into the house. At the time, I did not think too much about it. At the last moment, I pushed Fang Yu out, and then I closed the door. The man's body was still fading, and his spirit seemed to be dispersing. That was when my nightmare started. The house was filled with flowers and laughter, but it was actually a house of nightmares. Everyone is the shadow's playmate, but everyone's smiles are forced. Quote. The shadow planted curses on everyone. Because I let Fang Yu go, he hated me very much, and he placed many curses on me. I've endured more pain than anyone else, but it's also made me a lot stronger than others. In some ways, the shadow did not behave like a ghost at all. In fact, he was slowly growing like a human. Slowly, he did not need those fake friends anymore. What he needed was a guardian. He made all his former family fight against each other because he only needed one. After enduring the most curses and pain, I managed to survive until the end. The shadow seemed to be very satisfied with that result. At the time, I did not know the reason, but later, I realized that it was all part of his plan. The shadow went out more and more until one day, he brought back an altar. The man glanced behind him. There was a mud statuette placed inside the altar, and the name Fang Yu was written on it. When I saw the name Fang Yu, I had a bad feeling in my heart. I wanted to escape this place and secretly tell Fang Yu to leave Zhujiang. But who would have thought that everything was within the shadow's expectations? He purposely used me to get close to Fang Yu. He wanted to plant the curse on Fang Yu and turn her into his body. What the man said surprised Chen Ge. The shadow wanted to turn Fang Yu into his body. Yes, there seemed to be something else hidden inside his body. That thing was entrusted with his memories and emotions. He appeared to want that thing to grow inside Fang Yu's body. Ghost fetus. Yes, I heard the shadow mention that before. The man was shocked. How did you know that? You don't need to know how I know that. Just continue. Chen Ge paid close attention. He did not want to miss a single word. The shadow appeared to be chased by someone, but as he slowly grew, he started to look down on those who were chasing him. In all of Zhujiang, the only place he did not dare go was Western Zhujiang. The more Chen Ge listened, the more he felt like this was the shadow that he had encountered in Liwan City. However, at the time, the shadow had not split into the ghost fetus, and his power was at its peak. The shadow searched all over Zhujiang and found 9 altars in total. The one behind me is only one of them. These 9 altars correspond to the 9 mud statuettes that he personally made. Each statuette is a person, and they represent one of his bodies. Quote. Wait, I don't quite get what you mean. What do you mean by each mud statuette represents one of his bodies? Does that mean that if I destroy all the mud statuettes, I'll be able to kill him? Chen Ge had found 3 altars. There were 2 at the futuristic theme park, but one of the altars did not have a mud statuette, so it was most likely a fake. I have no idea, but I advise you not to think that way. That thing is different from normal specters. You won't be able to kill him. The man told Chen Ge everything he knew. I've been carrying this altar for many years, and I noticed the shadow's presence lingering on it like the altar is the shadow's real body. I suspect the shadow is using the altar to help the mud statuettes adapt to his presence so that the ghost fetus can take over the humans. His voice became softer and softer, and his aura weakened. This altar used to be very scary, but some time ago, I don't know what happened to the shadow, but the presence on the altar suddenly dropped, and it became more normal. Some time ago, that the man mentioned should be when Chen Ge and Dr. Gao killed the shadow in Liwan City. Looks like the shadow's death did affect the ghost fetus. Chen Ge stood up and looked at the altar. The inner wall of the altar was carved with the word, death. Different from the altars at the futuristic theme park, the altar at this old house had 9 blood-soaked paper mannequins stuffed inside it. Another 9 paper mannequins? There was nothing on the paper dolls. There were no names written on them, and they all looked the same. 9 altars, 9 mud statuettes, and 9 paper dolls. What is this ghost fetus trying to do? Chen Ge's brows creased in contemplation. If I were the ghost fetus, I would not want to be disturbed by the outside world during this important moment of my transformation into a human. Chen Ge felt that he had found an important clue, but he didn't have time to think about it because the man on the ground was about to disappear. Don't worry about me. I still have that person's curse on me. The moment I say this, my soul is destined to scatter. The man seemed to have accepted it. I thought I would succumb to the curse and be forced to do something to hurt Fang Yu. This is the best ending for me. You injured me and my employees, and now you want to walk away. Do you think that's possible? Chen Ge had the red high heels keep an eye on the man as he slowly extracted the curse from his body. There is still someone in this world who remembers you. You are her obsession. No matter what, you have to go and meet her. I can't go. The man's attitude suddenly changed. The moment she remembers anything related to me, the curse that the shadow planted on us will be triggered, and she will die. The man was strangely determined. As I said earlier, the shadow has tricked me. When I saw Fang Yu's name on the mud statuette, I sneaked away to find her. I am a ghost. Being exposed to the sun is like a living person jumping into a fire pit, but to suppress the curse on me and not harm her, I insisted on meeting her in the morning. The orphanage is no longer safe. The whole of Zhujiang is no longer safe, she has to leave. I know what she has been through, and I know how difficult it is for her. So, I have been trying to help her learn to live on her own. I taught her to sew the things she has to do every day onto her clothes. I made her cultivate the habit of placing her wallet, ID, and contact information in her pocket before she went to sleep. Everything I did was so that she could live a normal life without me. But I did not expect that I would fall into the shadow's trap. Those who were chosen by him seemed to have to cooperate with him willingly to complete the last step. He has been using me. The man had lost the strength to struggle. His eyes were filled with anger, self-blame, and despair. The curse started to show on Fang Yu. I did not know what to do. The only thing I could do was make her forget about me. That should be a very simple thing for Fang Yu. I erased the information from the orphanage and erased myself from the pictures. When I accompanied Fang Yu to the park for the last time, I told her a lie. Every time we met, she would ask for my name again. When she heard my answer, she would be very happy like she had not forgotten me. But on the last day when she asked for my name, I did not tell her my name but her name. I told her that my name was Fang Yu. I hoped that she would remember herself and never lose herself. We stayed at the park until very late. That day, I did not send her home. I watched her walk past the junction and stayed where I was. The man's story filled the last gap, and Fang Yu's life appeared in Chen Ge's mind. Fang Yu and the boy both grew up at the orphanage. One had a bad memory and kept forgetting the past, the other had a speech problem and kept repeating the same thing over and over again. The two accompanied each other until one day, when they went to eastern Zhujiang's dam, and the boy sacrificed himself to save Fang Yu. Due to the trauma, Fang Yu's condition worsened, but it was then that the boy was tricked by the shadow. He sneaked out of the small house at the dam and wanted to take Fang Yu away from Zhujiang. Based on the memory of the old guard, during that period of time, Fang Yu would sneak out from the orphanage. The old guard had asked Fang Yu about it, and Fang Yu had mentioned the word, kite. Thinking back, the day the boy disappeared was the day the orphanage organized a spring trip to eastern Zhujiang. Everyone was flying kites. The kite itself was an important piece of information, but the old guard did not think too deeply into it. The boy knew that he was cursed and could not stay by Fang Yu's side forever, so he kept helping Fang Yu live independently. This should have been the happiest period of their lives, but the good times did not last. The boy discovered the shadow's plan, and in the end, he had no choice but to have Fang Yu forget about him. The boy returned to the small house and was tortured by the shadow. Many curses were cast on him, and they turned him into a faceless monster. On the other hand, Fang Yu, whose memory was getting worse and worse, would go to the small park every day to wait. Gradually, she probably forgot who she was waiting for. She forgot the person's face and voice, and there was only one name left in her mind, Fang Yu. Until one day, when the park was about to be demolished, when she could no longer wait for that person, Chen Ge found her. Their story was not a happy one, but it still touched Chen Ge. He stood up and extended his hand to the man on the ground. If you are worried that the curse will harm Fang Yu, then I will help you remove the curse. If you are worried that the ghost fetus and the shadow will come for revenge, then why don't we work together to kill them? That way, no one will be able to harm you anymore. The man did not think that Chen Ge would be able to kill the ghost fetus. He believed that Chen Ge was just comforting him. The shadow that you were afraid of has already been consumed in Liwan City. Let me think. Which day was that? After a while, Chen Ge gave an accurate date, and it was the day that the presence on the altar dissipated. The man did not tell Chen Ge the exact time, but Chen Ge told him the date himself. Only then did he believe that Chen Ge was not lying. His eyes wandered between Chen Ge and the 4 red specters. Finally, the man touched Chen Ge's hand lightly. What do you want me to do? I will listen to you. Come with me to meet Fang Yu first. I promised her that I would bring you to her. Chen Ge opened the comic. You should be eager to meet her, right? The man nodded. Yes, but I'm afraid. You want to meet her, and she wants to meet you. That's enough. If there's any difficulty, we'll overcome it together. Chen Ge communicated with Yan Danian and pulled the man into the comic. Taking out the black phone, Chen Ge did not receive any message from the black phone. Even though the man agreed to temporarily listen to Chen Ge, he did not become one of the haunted house's employees. He still did not fully trust Chen Ge. Let's go. This trip to the dam has given me a reminder. I cannot afford to be careless. This is a special time. The ghost fetus is about to be born, so I have to be alert at all times. Chen Ge felt like he needed to carry the hammer with him. He did not have any power that could pose a threat to ghosts, but with the hammer, at least he would have a chance to fight back. After completing several trial missions with him, the hammer had changed a lot. There were blood vessels on the handle, and there was some dark red stuff accumulating in the blood groove of the hammer. It's inconvenient to go to many places with the hammer, but I can't worry about that now. After putting away the red high heels and foul odor, Chen Ge and Xu Yin returned to the altar. This time, there was no one to interrupt them, and they studied the altar. The age of the altar was definitely older than Chen Ge. The shadow probably found it from somewhere and did not make it himself. Perhaps there was originally a demon god living inside the altar, and the shadow is just taking over. Chen Ge was reminded of the painting at the haunted house of the future. It was a complete specter that was pieced together from the broken limbs of 24 specters. If I compare these 9 paper dolls to 9 incomplete drawings of specters, could the ghost fetus be trying to use these 9 paper dolls to piece together his own body? The picture of the demon has appeared in many places before. Dr. Gao and Chong Wenyu have it, and now the ghost fetus knows the meaning behind the picture. This thing does appear to be some kind of symbol. Quote. Without any evidence and too few clues, Chen Ge could only speculate. He wanted to move the altar back, but he was opposed by both Xu Yin and the headless woman. Chen Ge was surprised that a red specter would object so strongly. This altar that was filled with the word, death, appeared to be a very unlucky object. Without touching the altar, Chen Ge placed the clay statuette with Fang Yu's name on top of his own shadow. The black blood on the clay statuette slowly disappeared as if it had been absorbed by Chen Ge's shadow. There are definitely more than these few altars in Zhujiang. I will try my best to find more clay statuettes. Hopefully, Zhangya will wake up soon. Chen Ge was actually quite anxious. Normally, a red specter would need to hibernate for a long time after consuming other red specters, but due to various reasons, after Zhangya consumed a large amount of food, the hibernation time was very short. Even if she went into hibernation, she would wake up due to some accident, like the school of the afterlife. Even though the shadow had been stripped of the ghost fetus, he was still a top red specter. After Zhangya and Dr. Gao consumed the shadow, Zhangya only slept for a few days before she woke up again. This was a kind of damage to a red specter. After taking another look around the house, Chen Ge made sure that he had not missed any clues before he left. He could not hail a taxi near the dam. To get back as soon as possible, Chen Ge ran down the road. In the end, he ran into a kind van driver, and the man dropped him off at the city. At 11:45 p.m., Chen Ge returned to the residential area where Fang Yu lived. The dim streetlights looked rather blurry through the thin curtain of rain. Chen Ge did not know which floor Fang Yu lived on. He knocked on the old man's door first, and with the old man leading the way, he came to the 4th floor. The fat auntie was still awake. She had been waiting for Chen Ge's news. The front door opened, and when the auntie saw Chen Ge, her expression turned excited. Have you found the man? Chen Ge returned the umbrella to the auntie and then looked into the room. Is Fang Yu home? She lives in the innermost room. I'll go get her. There's no need. Chen Ge took out the comic from his backpack and walked to the bedroom door. He knocked lightly on the door. I found Fang Yu for you. The door opened instantly, and Fang Yu appeared at the door in her pajamas. Her exposed skin was tattooed with the name Fang Yu. At first glance, it was scary, but at second glance, it made one's heart ache. Where is he? Chen Ge's eyes skipped over Fang Yu and looked into the room. Inside the small room, everything was arranged neatly. The walls were covered in paper notes, and they were all about things that were normal for a normal person. Wake up, put on clothes, brush your teeth, wash your face, place your ID in your wallet, and place your wallet in your left pocket. Fang Yu was living her life seriously. Every day that she repeated was a new day for her. Taking one step forward, Chen Ge locked the door behind him. He pulled the curtains shut and sniffed the light fragrance in the room. He reached out to turn off the light. With his yin-yang vision, Chen Ge could see Fang Yu's face clearly. Suddenly being placed in the dark, Fang Yu was quite afraid. Flipping through the comic, the shadow of a man appeared inside the bedroom. The streetlight outside the window filtered through the curtains, and it shone a dim light into the room. The gentle light fell on Chen Ge's back, and he could barely make out the shape of a man. 10 years ago, when they parted at the junction, the man retained the appearance of that day, and Fang Yu repeated the memory of that day. The man who appeared in the room matched the man in Fang Yu's memory. The last time they met, Fang Yu stood at the junction. She turned back to look like she would normally, but she could not find the man. She stood alone at the junction, drowned by the crowd. 10 years had passed, and time did not seem to have left any mark on the two of them. The room was quiet, and no one spoke. Several minutes later, the man and Fang Yu suddenly looked at each other at the same time, and they called out the same name. Fang Yu. Fang Yu. Chen Ge very consciously walked to the corner and took out the red high heels. Once the curse was triggered, he would have the red high heels go and control the man. The room became quiet again. Of the two of them, one retained the appearance of 10 years ago, but had lived through 10 years of time. Although the other was no longer the young girl from 10 years ago, her memory had stopped at that day. I was busy that day, so I did not send you home. The man lowered his head like he could not control his expression. He did not want others to see him like that. You won't blame me, right? Fang Yu shook her head. She walked toward the man. Just as she took the first step, the man took a step back. Fang Yu walked faster and faster until she finally reached the man. The distance of 2 to 3 meters felt like 10 years. She raised her arms and hugged the man tightly, like she was trying to hold on to him and never let him go again. Her arms touched the man's body. Coldness and bitterness came from her palms, and in the end, the woman could only hug herself. Small black threads crawled out from the man's body. His face was twisted. The curse that the ghost fetus had planted in him had been triggered, and he was trying his best to control himself. The black threads rushed at Fang Yu with a wail. Just as they were about to consume Fang Yu, drops of blood fell from the ceiling to temporarily seal the curse. I'm sorry. The curse that was rooted deep inside his soul was triggered, and the man's body became more and more transparent. He used the last of his energy to whisper something into Fang Yu's ear, and then his body shattered and returned to the comic. Fang Yu stood in the dark blankly. She seemed to have lost all her energy, and she slowly collapsed in the middle of the room. The faded light fell on her face. The clock struck midnight, and Chen Ge switched on the light. Are you okay? Hearing the voice, Fang Yu turned around. Her red eyes looked at Chen Ge. Her lips moved, and tears fell uncontrollably. I'm sorry, do you know Fang Yu? Fang Yu appeared to have lost her memory again. Chen Ge helped her to the bed and poured her a glass of water. Fang Yu and I are good friends. He's been busy lately, but he'll come to visit you in a few days. Fang Yu, who lay in bed, looked at Chen Ge quietly. For some reason, she trusted the man before her, and he did not appear to be lying to her. Have a good sleep and take care of yourself. Fang Yu will be back soon. Her body had been greatly stimulated. After she calmed down, she would be very tired, so Fang Yu soon fell asleep. Chen Ge switched off the light and silently walked out of the bedroom. The fat auntie stood guard outside the door. Is Xiao Yu feeling better? I heard how excited she was when she was talking. Did you really find that person? Quote. Yes, I did. Tell me, where is he? The fat auntie looked like she wanted to stand up for Fang Yu. A big man abandoned Xiao Yu because of her memory loss. Let's go there now. I have to teach him a lesson. The man has his own difficulties. The pain he has endured is no less than Fang Yu's. Chen Ge smiled. Big sis, thank you for taking care of Fang Yu. I'll come back in the near future. Perhaps I can cure Fang Yu's illness. Cure her memory loss? Yes. Chen Ge placed the comic inside his backpack. I won't disturb you anymore. See you later. Hey, speak clearly. It's still raining, take the umbrella with you. Carrying the backpack, he walked out the stairwell. The rain fell on him. Chen Ge walked through the dim street lights, and before he left, he turned back to look. There are many bad people in this world, but there are also many good people. A city's night can be cruel and bloody, but most of it is normal beauty. He hailed a cab to return to New Century Park. Chen Ge carried his backpack and entered the haunted house's underground scenario. Is Dr. Wei here? Chen Ge had Tong Tong called a few doctors who were writing the textbooks in the underground morgue. Come and take a look at this man. His condition is not looking good. Flipping through the comic, Chen Ge released the man in the red high heels. Xiao Chen, the knowledge we learned when we were alive is used to treat the living. Even though we have a research attitude and have started to explore how to treat ghosts, the progress is very slow. Dr. Wei looked at the man who was about to dissipate on the ground. The core that sustains the existence of a ghost is their lingering spirit. Once that spirit disappears, the ghost will cease to exist. In this case, his spirit is very strong, but something else has attached itself to it, causing him to waver. This is a very rare situation. The thing that is rooted deep inside his spirit should be the ghost fetus, curse. Chen Ge squatted down before the man. Can you please have some confidence in yourself? I will help you remove the curse. Then, you will be able to protect Fang Yu forever. You will never be separated from her. Quote. The man's body faded, and he laughed bitterly. I am very grateful to you for allowing me to see Fang Yu again, but you saw the situation yourself. As long as I am alive, I will harm Fang Yu. Furthermore, even if the curse is removed, the ghost fetus will still come to find you. Is it really worth it for you to provoke the ghost fetus for me? Quote. I am not lying to you. The ghost fetus and I are sworn enemies. Do you understand what I mean? Regardless of whether you are here or not, he still wants to kill me. If I help you, I'll be helping myself. Chen Ge was not lying. His every word was filled with sincerity. Cooperate with this red specter's treatment. After the curse is completely removed, we will work together to deal with the ghost fetus. Actually, you can still send me away now. I have the ghost fetus, curse on me. He will come to me first. Don't worry so much. Focus on removing the curse. When we face the ghost fetus, no one will be distracted to take care of you. Chen Ge stood up and prepared to leave. Wait a minute. The man lay on the ground and hesitated for a long time before turning to Chen Ge to say, we do not have much time left. The ghost fetus has spent 10 years to find the right person. He will be here soon. The ghost fetus has found the right person. Chen Ge stopped moving. What do you mean? The shadow's obsession is to become a living human. He wants to have a family, happiness, and everything a human should have, but at the same time, he hates everything good. To fulfill his wish, he separated out the ghost fetus a long time ago and planted it in the bodies of many children. But most of the children were unable to withstand the pain brought by the ghost fetus. Only those who had lived inside the nightmare and had already gotten used to the nightmare had a chance of getting used to the ghost fetus. The shadow, children, and many seeds. Chen Ge was reminded of the things that happened in eastern Zhejiang before he started the mission in Liwan City. The fragments of the past were being connected. The ghost fetus has searched for 10 years and found 9 children who can withstand his pain. These 9 children correspond to the mud statuettes inside the 9 altars. The man's voice was very soft, as if revealing these things would cause him great pain. The curse in his heart was gnawing at his soul. It has been 10 years. The age, appearance, and personality of the 9 children are all different. The ghost fetus is currently inside one of them. After the man said that, black threads crawled out from his eyes and mouth. If not for the red high heels' expertise in dealing with curses, the man would have been scared out of his wits already. Not long after the man said that, the black phone in Chen Ge's pocket vibrated. Taking out his phone, Chen Ge swiped the screen and clicked open the new unread message. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored, congratulations for obtaining a special type spectre, Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, curse. A powerful obsession has granted him a very rare power. He can strip away the memory of living humans and ghosts. He has great potential. The black phone rarely commented on specters, but in Zhang Yi's column, the black phone had specially marked him with great potential. Looks like I'll have to find a way to raise Zhang Yi and Yandanian to red specters in the future. These two have scary powers, but one is tortured by the curse until he is half dead, and the other thinks he is weak. Other than drawing, he can do nothing. Chen Ge was about to put his phone away when he noticed there was an unread message on the black phone. The employee tab has been unlocked for the newly acquired spectre. Why is there an unread message? Chen Ge clicked open the message. He glanced at it, and his expression changed instantly. When the curse inside the altars was broken, the ghost fetus already knew of your arrival. 4-star trial mission, Ghost Fetus, has been forcefully activated. Using the whole city as the stage, this is a game of hide and seek between life and death. The 9 altars represent 9 children, and the ghost fetus is hiding inside one of them. You have to find him within 9 nights. Or else when he turns into a ghost, you will definitely die. Mission hint. Red Spectre's favored. You are only one step away from the truth. Reading the message on the black phone, Chen Ge stood where he was for a long time. Just digesting the new information on the black phone took Chen Ge more than 10 minutes. He held the phone in silence. He knew that the ghost fetus was dangerous, and he knew that he would come to find him soon, but he did not expect him to come so soon. Only 9 days. If I can't find him in 9 days, I will die. The black phone never lied, and all the information that it had given him before had come true. The 4-star trial mission for Ghost Fetus has been forcefully triggered, but this mission is different from the School of the Afterlife and any trial mission that I've done before. It does not have a fixed location, and it did not give me accurate information. It only gave me a general range. The whole of Zhujiang will be the stage. Chen Ge frowned as he looked at the information on the black phone. It was a 4-star trial mission, but the mission introduction was only a few lines, and the mission hint was only 1 sentence. The time limit is 9 nights, and the phone specifically marked out the word, night. Is this telling me that only the children possessed by the ghost fetus will show their weakness at night? Chen Ge had played hide and seek many times, but this was the first time he had risked his life to play this game. Now I only know the number of children and altars. That alone will be too difficult to find the ghost fetus in Zhujiang. Chen Ge put the black phone away and took out his own phone. He opened the contact list. My power alone is limited, and now is not the time to fight alone. I need to use all the power that I can. Chen Ge first turned to Li Zheng and Captain Yan. After many collaborations, one could say that the Zhujiang police force was Chen Ge's strongest support. I should leave this to the police. What I need to do is understand the characteristics of these children and the possible danger that I might run into during the search. The game had already started. After the black phone triggered the mission, an hourglass appeared on the mission interface. After it flipped 9 times, the ghost fetus would come to find Chen Ge. The black phone said that I will die, so the ghost fetus should be a demon god as well. He has stolen 9 altars and taken over their homes. The original owners of the altars have probably been killed. A specter who can possess an altars is already very scary, but they are still no match for the ghost fetus. In that aspect, the ghost fetus might be one of the more powerful demon gods. Quote. Without any clues, Chen Ge could only speculate based on his own experience. These 9 days might be the last period of my life. Chen Ge did not summon Zhang Yi back into the comic but had Dr. Wei and the red high heels treat him. She called it a treatment, but in reality, it was just the red high heels searching Zhang Yi's body for the black threads that represented the curse. The ghost fetus had planted many curses inside Zhang Yi's body. To prevent Zhang Yi's soul from dispersing, this was the only way. I'll leave him to you. Carrying the backpack, Chen Ge returned to the surface. When he passed the prop room, he shoved the hammer into the backpack. For the next 9 days, I have to carry this with me. To not affect the scary atmosphere of the haunted house, Chen Ge also customized a wooden hammer for Xiao Jiyu, who played the role of Dr. Skullcracker. After he finished all that, it was already 3 a.m. He returned to the staff break room and lay in bed, but he could not fall asleep. It is hard to imagine that the 4-star trial mission has already started, and I'm still sleeping inside my own haunted house on the first night. Chen Ge took out a pen and paper to organize the information that he knew. So far, I have found 3 altars, and one of them corresponds to Fang Yu. Based on Fang Yu's condition, the ghost fetus shouldn't be with her, so I can basically rule it out. The second altar corresponds to myself. Inside the altar is my decapitated statue, and the word, death, is carved all over my body. This shows how much the ghost fetus hates me. Jealousy and anger have caused him to lose his mind. There are 2 altars at the futuristic theme park. If one of them corresponds to me, who does the other one correspond to? Initially, Chen Ge thought that there was only one real altar at the futuristic theme park, and the other was a replica, but now, he could not be so sure. The futuristic theme park's haunted house was built under the insistence of a director with the surname Zhang. His godson, Zhang Ming, is about the same age as me. These are all suspicious points. The father and son must know something. Perhaps the altar without the statue was tampered with by them. With that in mind, Chen Ge pressed the play button on the recorder and summoned Xu Yin. Then he flipped through the comic and released all the lingering spirits and baleful specters that he had found at the cursed house. The white cat bit on Xiao Xiao's dress and dragged her into the quilt. Both of them were covered by the quilt, and only their eyes peeked out to observe the situation in the dark. The little girl from the wind chime and the old man's son, Xiao's son, were the first to appear. They held each other's hands like they were afraid of Chen Ge. Then the chair before the table slowly turned, and a hardened old man appeared. He was facing away from Chen Ge. Just like the black and white portrait, his face could not be seen. The smell of blood thickened. A sigh and a sorrowful voice echoed in the room, and the red specter in the costume appeared as well. Lian, the old man turned slightly. The red specter's body was flickering. She glanced at the old man before moving toward him with her hands covering her face. Why did you come to my place to play the magpie bridge? Chen Ge held the hammer and glared at everyone in the room. I don't care what you want to do in the future, but for now, I need you to answer a few of my questions honestly. Yin-Yang vision scanned the old man and the red specter. Chen Ge did not even miss the 2 children. There is an altar in your scenario. Tell me everything you know about the altar. With Chen Ge's interrogation, he obtained a very important piece of information from the old man. The red specter had met the ghost fetus before. To protect Xiao Sun's son and the girl, the red specter had agreed to help the ghost fetus protect the altar. In a way, the red specter was the same as Zhang Yi. They were both protecting the altar. But the problem was, the red specter had only promised the ghost fetus to protect the altar with Chen Ge's statuette. The other altar did not need her protection. According to the old man, the altar with Chen Ge's statuette was the original altar inside the cursed house, and the altar that Chen Ge saw inside the cursed house was placed there by a young man called Zhang Ming. The key was that there was also a statuette inside the altar that Zhang Ming placed there, and the name Zhang Ming was written on it. However, the statuette had mysteriously disappeared, like it had been taken away by Zhang Ming. I am the first, Fang Yu is the second, and from the clues that I have so far, Zhang Ming is probably the third. If he went to eastern Zhujiang now, it would be dawn when he reached his destination. Therefore, Chen Ge did not move immediately but chose to take a good nap. I'll go to the futuristic theme park tomorrow, but I won't be able to get through the security with the hammer. That will be a problem. Actually, Chen Ge believed that with his image in the eyes of the people at the futuristic theme park, even if he went there, he would not be able to get anything out of them. The workers there acted like they had seen a zombie when they saw him, and they stayed as far away from him as possible. Chen Ge felt like everyone had misunderstood him, but he was in a hurry, and he did not plan to waste time explaining. I can't get through the security with the hammer, so I'd better go to the hospital. Chen Ge turned his attention to the victims. When I visited the haunted house, the futuristic theme park arranged for the actors to follow me. They've experienced the horror personally, so they should be able to talk to me. People were the most vulnerable when they were sick. Chen Ge planned to go to the hospital to talk to the actors who had fainted, but the prerequisite was that they had woken up. Worrying won't change the situation. I'd better have a good night's sleep and appreciate what I have now. He set an alarm clock and fell into a deep sleep. At 8 a.m. the next day, after Chen Ge washed up, he summoned Bai and Dr. Wei. I'll leave the haunted house to you two. I have something to do in the morning. Xiao Chen, is there something bothering you? Dr. Wei noticed Chen Ge's change with one glance. Yesterday, I heard from Zhang Yi that the ghost fetus is coming. Are you worried about him? I am, but it's not a big problem. The smile returned to Chen Ge's face. Just focus on the business and leave the rest to me. Actually, you can rely on us. After all, this is everyone's home. Okay, don't worry. Chen Ge had Dr. Wei and Bai return to their respective scenarios. He walked out of the haunted house to open the gate. It was the peak season at the theme park, so the employees had arrived early. Put on your makeup first. I might not be at the haunted house in the morning for the next few days, so be careful. Boss, don't you normally go out at night? How come it's daytime now? Jiyu Feiyu was straightforward. I have something to deal with, but it should be done in 9 days. After that, I will accompany everyone and give them a good rest. Chen Ge walked into the dressing room and put on the makeup for the few employees very seriously. I'm counting on you all. The competition between New Century Park and the futuristic theme park had reached its climax. The employees had been preparing for this day for a long time, and Chen Ge did not want to trouble them. After saying goodbye to Shu Shu before the park opened, Chen Ge carried his heavy backpack and walked out of the park. After stopping a taxi, Chen Ge got in the car, and the smile on his face slowly disappeared. Where are you going? Criminal Investigation Division of the Municipal Sub-Bureau. When Chen Ge arrived at the entrance of the police station, he looked at the guard and then at the backpack in his hand. After a moment of consideration, he decided not to go in. Instead, he called Li Zheng. Brother Zheng, it's still me, Chen Ge. What do you want? I'm at the entrance of the police station. Can you come and pick me up? There are some things I need to figure out. You're the first person I've met in my career who dares to talk to a police officer like that. Wait a moment, I'll be right there. The call ended. 10 minutes later, Li Zheng appeared at the door. Say it, what's the matter? Can we talk inside? Outsiders are not allowed to enter this place. Li Zheng looked at Chen Ge and shook his head. Never mind, come with me. The two entered the police station, and Li Zheng led Chen Ge into the empty conference room. Everyone is working, so it's not good to bring you in, even though they know you. Glancing at Chen Ge's backpack, Li Zheng could guess what was inside. Relax, do you want some water? Brother Zheng, I want to ask you 2 things. Chen Ge went straight to the point. Go ahead. Is Chang Jiyu awake? Chen Ge cared a lot about Chang Jiyu. He was a director, and he was good at using ghosts in movies. Other than that, he was the person who understood Chang Wenyu the most in the world. At the School of the Afterlife, Chang Wenyu sacrificed herself to destroy the door, but in the end, she was killed by several top red specters. Theoretically speaking, her soul should have dissipated, but after Chang Wenyu died, her personal page appeared on the black phone, and the black phone said that Chang Wenyu was not completely dead. Chang Jiyu was Chang Wenyu's only family. If there was someone Chang Wenyu could trust in this world, it had to be Chang Jiyu. Chen Ge wanted to find Chang Wenyu's backup plan through Chang Jiyu. A baleful specter who could stand at the top of the red specters could not be underestimated. That was Chen Ge's experience. His wounds have stabilized, but he still hasn't woken up. The doctor did a scan on his brain, and they didn't find anything wrong. Li Zheng felt like Chen Ge was unusually serious that day. What's the second thing? Chen Ge took a light breath and turned to Li Zheng. Inspector Li, do you still remember Liwan City? The mention of Liwan City caused Inspector Li's expression to change. He moved the chair over and sat before Chen Ge. I only remember part of it. I've forgotten a lot. That day, you chased Jia Ming into Liwan City, and then you ran into me in the small town. I carried you out, but unfortunately, Jia Ming escaped. Chen Ge had no idea how much Li Jung remembered. This was a tacit understanding between him and Li Jung. After leaving Liwan City, neither of them asked about what happened that night. Li Jung's eyes moved away from Chen Ge to look at the cup that was still steaming. No matter what happened that night, there was one fact that could not be changed. It was Chen Ge who carried the unconscious Li Jung out of Liwan City. The young man before him had saved his life. Of course, I remember all that. Actually, we've been chasing after Jia Ming, and many signs show that he hasn't left Zhujiang. Li Jung stood up. Captain Yan is personally in charge of Jia Ming's case. I'll take you to meet him. The two walked out of the conference room, walked down the corridor, and arrived at an office on the third floor. They knocked on the door and entered. Captain Yan was on the phone with someone. The normally gentle man was red in the face, and when he got to the point, he even slammed the table. The phone call lasted for 3 minutes before Captain Yan's anger slowly dissipated. When he saw Chen Ge, he finally smiled. Li Jung, why did you bring Xiao Chen here? Is he here to ask for the reward money? This place is not responsible for giving out money? Captain Yan, Chen Ge is here to ask about Jia Ming's wife-killing case. Li Jung seemed to be worried that Captain Yan would refuse to answer, so he helped Chen Ge out of kindness. After all, he was there at the time. He was a victim and a witness. I don't think there's a need to hide this case from him. There are too many things involved in this case. Captain Yan had Li Jung close the office door before continuing. 36 hours after Jia Ming escaped from Liwan City, we found Jia Ming's figure outside a residential building far away from Liwan City, and the key point was that he did not appear alone. Jia Ming appeared again. Chen Ge remembered that Jia Ming should have been left behind inside the door. He had come this time to convince the police to do something else, but he did not expect to get an unexpected reward. Captain Yan, where is the residential building that Jia Ming appeared at? I want to go take a look. There was a fire once, and there was a Peiji Academy next to it. Quote. A fire? Only through the door can one leave the blood-red world. Chen Ge happened to know of a door in eastern Zhujiang. It was inside a building that had been on fire before. The wisp burned the building. The scene where Dr. Gao ate the door pusher. Captain Yan took out a document from the bottom drawer. There were 4 people who appeared at the same time as Jia Ming. A young man in his early 20s, a middle-aged man around 40, a mentally unstable woman, and a child about 4 or 5 years old. Flipping through the document, Captain Yan had already investigated all of their identities. The young man's name is Bai Yi. He killed his father and his biological brother, Bai Wen. His mother impersonated him and has been locked up. The middle-aged man around 40 is a gambling addict. His name is Zhen Shang. He has no fixed job, and his character is horrible. He is a drunkard, a violent man, and a thief. We have his record here. The woman's name is Yu Wangqing. She is not from the city. There is no mental illness in her family. Her mental illness is caused by her environment. The last one is the child. Strangely enough, we could not find any information about him. We visited Zhen Shang's neighbors, and they only knew that he had a daughter who disappeared several years ago. No one knew that there was a boy in his family. Chen Ge had an impression of all the people that Captain Yan mentioned. There was no need to mention Jia Ming. There was another evil soul hiding in his body, and he had once served the ghost fetus. The family of 3 were the passengers on the hearse. At the time, they had followed Chen Ge into Liwan City. The last one was Bai Yi, a resident of Liwan City, a murderer who hid inside a cannibal hotel. How did they get along? Jia Ming was a cunning killer, and Bai Yi was a psychopathic murderer. How could they have gotten along with the family of 3? In Chen Ge's memory of the family of 3, the father was a coward who bullied the weak and feared the strong. The mother never spoke and did not respond to anything that happened in the outside world. Even though the last boy was cute, he was just cute. In the eyes of murderers and madmen, being cute was useless. In fact, it would only trigger the cruelty in their hearts. Why didn't Jia Ming and Bai Yi kill the family of 3? To analyze the logic of a murderer, One had to put themselves in the murderer's shoes and put themselves in their shoes. Liwan City is not that far from the residential area where the ghost fire is, but it is not that close either. How did this group of old and weak people manage to move through the world behind the door? Chen Ge's mind turned quickly, and many speculations appeared in his mind. Of these people, someone knows the way. It could be Bai Yi or Jia Ming. They escaped during the chaos to get to the other door. The family of three is just a normal person. Jia Ming and Bai Yi spent so much effort to protect them and bring them out from the world behind the door. There has to be a reason. The middle-aged man is a gambling addict. To get what he wants, he would even sacrifice his own daughter. He is just a burden. The mother's situation is quite unique. It seems like she has been greatly traumatized, and she only has the body of a living person. Since these two adults are so normal, it's obvious that Jia Ming and Bai Yi would protect the family of three from the world behind the door because of that child. What is so special about a child that would make Jia Ming and Bai Yi risk their lives for him? Chen Ge's eyes slowly narrowed. He thought of a possibility. The child is also one of the candidates for the ghost fetus, so the ghost fetus is probably inside that child. Based on the clues that he had, Chen Ge came to a conclusion that was close to the truth. Chen Ge, what are you thinking? Captain Yan asked after Chen Ge remained silent. It's nothing. I'm just curious why the family of three would be hanging around with the wanted criminals. Chen Ge looked at Captain Yan. A family of three is following them. In this situation, they shouldn't be considered hostages. It's more like they are seeking their protection. We have also considered the point that you mentioned. The most important thing now is to capture Bai Yi and Jia Ming. Captain Yan took out another document. During this period of time, they have changed their hiding places several times, but strangely enough, they have not left Zhujiang. It is as if there is something very important to them in this city. Even if there is the risk of being captured, they are unwilling to leave. The more Captain Yan put it that way, the more Chen Ge felt the boy was not normal. He had to be related to the ghost fetus in some way. Captain Yan, we can't give them time. I have a very bad feeling about this. We have to capture them as soon as possible. Chen Ge was really running out of time. He had too little information, and it would be very difficult to find the ghost fetus in 8 nights. We've locked down their location, and we're narrowing the area. We'll definitely capture them in 3 days. Captain Yan was personally in charge of Jia Ming's case. From that, one could see how serious he was. After all, Jia Ming's situation was very serious. He had killed his wife, assaulted the police, and provoked the police many times. In 3 days, Chen Ge nodded. Captain Yan, can you bring me with you? Jia Ming was hiding an evil spirit, and the boy might be related to the ghost fetus. Chen Ge was worried about unnecessary casualties. You should stay at the theme park. I heard that you've recently gotten into trouble with the futuristic theme park. You should be under a lot of pressure, so don't wander around. Okay. Chen Ge agreed verbally, but he used his yin-yang vision to look at the open documents on the table. He was shocked to realize that he was very familiar with 2 of the 3 areas that the police were monitoring. One was Liwan City, and the other was Zhongyuan Apartments. If there's nothing else, you should go back. Captain Yan seemed to know that Chen Ge was reading the documents on the table, but he did not stop him. Perhaps he was using this method to not break the law and not go against his own will. There's one more thing. Chen Ge did not hide it anymore. I want to find someone in Zhujiang. Who? He should be younger than me. That's the only clue. There are too many people younger than you. How are we supposed to help you find him? Hearing that, Chen Ge felt helpless. The things that he knew were limited, and part of the information could not be shared with the police. I know the picture of the man when he was a baby. By comparing the pictures, we should be able to find the man. Chen Ge revealed another piece of information. At the top of the building next to Liwan City, the shadow had been ganged up on by Zhang Ya and Dr. Gao. In the end, he had been forced to borrow the ghost fetus, power. At the end of the battle, a baby's head had appeared on the shadow's chest. The baby's face was twisted by the curse. The baby symbolized a new life, but its eyes were filled with malice and destruction. Chen Ge had a deep impression of the baby's face. At the time, he had already considered this situation, so he had memorized the baby's face in his heart. This was the most direct clue that he had on the ghost fetus. He knew what the ghost fetus looked like when he was a baby. Chen Ge, these 2 clues of yours are too vague. Just the comparison will take a lot of time and manpower, and we might not be able to find anything in the end. Captain Yan's finger tapped on the table. I can help you, but you have to give me a reason that will convince me. Someone wants to kill me, and the killer left behind 3 clues. Someone younger or the same age as me, a picture of a baby, and an altar with a mud statuette. Since he was going to seek help from the police, Chen Ge would not hide too many things. He had seen many horror movies in the past, but he could not understand how some of the main characters did things. They had to wait until the danger was right before they called the police. In the end, there would always be accidents like the phone could not be reached or the phone line was cut. Chen Ge was different. He had a 9-night mission, and he went to seek help from the police on the first day. There was no chance for an accident to happen. Chen Ge told Captain Yan and Li Zheng all the clues that he could. When the 2 heard that someone wanted to kill Chen Ge, their expressions changed instantly. They knew that Chen Ge would not joke about something like this. Since Chen Ge said that someone wanted to kill him, it meant that the person not only wanted to kill Chen Ge, but it also made Chen Ge feel a threat that he had not felt before. Otherwise, with Chen Ge's personality, he would not have rushed to report the case without any concrete clues. After another hour of conversation, Chen Ge told the police everything that he could. Then Captain Yan even called over the portrait expert from the police station. Based on Chen Ge's description, they drew out the ghost fetus face when he was still a baby. After asking the police for help, Chen Ge left in a hurry and moved to the next location. The child next to Jia Ming probably corresponds to an altar. He knows the shadow and the ghost fetus better than Zhang Yi. After he is captured, the fog around the ghost fetus should dissipate. Hailing a taxi to the hospital, Chen Ge came to the sick room that was set up for the fainting patients. Some of the patients had already left after treatment, but their empty beds would always be filled by new patients. Due to the popularity of the haunted house, the number of beds occasionally increased, and they had to temporarily add new beds along the corridor. Carrying the heavy backpack, with the nurse leading the way, Chen Ge stopped outside one of the sick rooms. The workers at the futuristic theme park had good benefits. The management at the theme park had arranged a separate sick room for the 6 workers who had fainted at their own haunted house. He knocked on the door and entered. The police officer, Xiao Ling, and the woman with the long black hair were playing Landlord. When the 3 saw Chen Ge walk in, they shivered involuntarily, and the scary memory that they had tried so hard to forget resurfaced. However, different from the visitors who had fainted at Chen Ge's haunted house, these workers did not think that their experience that day had anything to do with Chen Ge. They just thought it was weird that everyone had fainted, but he was the only one who was fine. I visited the haunted house with them that day, and some of the content was related to the secret between the 2 theme parks. Before Chen Ge finished, the nurse waved and left. Chen Ge, I apologize for my offense that day. I'm sorry for letting you see such a joke. The police officer thought that Chen Ge was a reliable person. If not for the fact that they were on different sides, they would have been friends. There's something wrong with your haunted house. Chen Ge's expression was serious. He sat down next to the 3 of them. Do not spread what I say here. Okay. I'm here to confirm one thing with you. Chen Ge's eyes scanned the 3 of them. That day, did we really run into a ghost? The 3 did not say anything, but their expressions were complicated. Chen Ge tossed the backpack to the corner of the room and took out his phone to place on the table. Don't worry, I won't record anything. Feel free to search me. I'm here to get to the bottom of this. The police officer and Xiao Ling turned to look at the woman with the long black hair. The 3 shared a look. Finally, Xiao Ling silently checked the door. After making sure it was closed, she said, "Not only do you think this is weird, we've been worried as well. Many of the ghosts that we ran into that day weren't in the program. In other words, there is something inside the scenario that doesn't belong there." The police officer smiled bitterly. In any case, I won't be helping at the haunted house anymore. If I have to go, I'll have to resign. Why would something like that happen? Is it really because those old objects are haunted by the spirits of the dead? Like the altar at the cursed house? Chen Ge slowly guided them. He wanted to get some information, but he could not be too direct. Other than that, we can't think of any other explanation. I heard people say that all the old objects were moved into the haunted house by a manager with the surname Zhang. Could it be that manager Zhang already knew about this? Chen Ge asked with curiosity. Who is this manager Zhang? Building such a big haunted house requires a lot of money, so why did the management at your park agree to it? Quote. Zhang Ju is one of the decision makers at the park. He's also one of the park's shareholders. He used to be in the real estate business, and I heard he had a conflict with director Luo 10 years ago. Xiao Ling sat back down on the bed. In any case, he's very impressive. A small worker like me can only look up to him. He had a conflict with director Luo. This was something that Chen Ge did not expect. He felt like he was standing inside a spider web that had been weaved over many years. He could see the truth, but at the same time, the spider that was hunting for food could see him as well. Yes, they used to be in the real estate business, and for some reason, they all had their eyes on a piece of land in western Zhejiang. In the end, that piece of land was bought by director Luo. The woman with the long black hair seemed to know many things, and her presence was different from a normal worker. Is it the piece of land at New Century Park? Yes, that piece of land looked normal at the time, but now I have to admire the foresight of the bosses. Normal? Chen Ge knew that it was normal above ground, but that might not be the case underground. He kept an eye out and changed the topic. The grudges of the older generation have nothing to do with us. I just want to understand why Zhang Ju purposely shoved those old objects into the haunted house. His motive doesn't appear to be that simple. Chen Ge was silent for a moment. After I left your park, I did a lot of research and realized that the altars are not used to worship spirits but to curse people. There is a mud statuette inside each altar, and those who touch them will be cursed. This is a complete disregard for the lives of the visitors. There should be some misunderstanding. Something bad will happen to the altars if they are left alone. You've experienced how scary a haunted house can be when it goes out of control. Human lives are at stake. I have to have a good talk with the person in charge of your haunted house. Chen Ge's tone was serious. Can you contact Zhang Ju? These people were just workers. Chen Ge did not expect to be able to contact the upper management of the theme park, Zhang Ju. He wanted to get information about Zhang Ming from them and then make his move that night. This was why he did not ask the police to intervene at the futuristic theme park. The specters at the cursed house had seen the mud statuette with Zhang Ming's name, which meant that Zhang Ming was one of the 9 children. If the police intervened, it would only mess up his plan and make things more complicated. This Zhang Ming looks about my age. When the shadow separated from the ghost fetus, he was probably in his teens. Furthermore, I've met him at the theme park before. He looks normal and has a good relationship with people. Why would someone like him be chosen by the ghost fetus? Could this be a trap set up by the ghost fetus? The chance of the ghost fetus being with Zhang Ming was not high, but Chen Ge still planned to meet him in person that night. When the workers at the futuristic theme park heard that Chen Ge wanted to contact Zhang Ju, they reacted strangely. They did not reject Chen Ge immediately but turned to look at the woman with the long black hair. What's wrong? You can contact Zhang Ju. Quote, I can't contact Zhang Ju, but his godson, Zhang Ming, is my ex-boyfriend. We were together for 3.5 years before we broke up due to a ridiculous reason. The woman with the long black hair had the personality of a strong woman. Even if she was sad, she would not show it. A ridiculous reason? Chen Ge was curious. When I first went to his house, I realized that Zhang Ming had a child about 4 or 5 years old. The child's name was also Zhang Ming. I asked him what was his relationship with the child, but he stammered and stammered. There is a child by the name of Zhang Ming in Zhang Ming's family? Chen Ge did not expect that a random question from him would lead to a surprise. Yes, I did not think too much about it at the time. I just thought it was weird, but who would have thought the child would call Zhang Ming daddy? The woman with the long black hair had a bitter smile on her face. I have not heard Zhang Ming mention this before. That night, we had a very unpleasant dinner. When I returned home that night, I asked him what was the relationship between him and the child. He was instantly angered and told me not to ask questions. Quote, the woman raised her head. Is my request too much? If the child is not his biological child and he adopted him, I can understand. But he did not say anything. What do I think about that? Quote. He should not be his biological child. Why would a biological father and son have the same name? Chen Ge was not there to listen to a love story. Before waiting for the woman to continue, he opened his mouth to ask, what does the child look like? Is there anything about him that is different from a normal child? The child is quite pitiful. He is deaf, and he seems to have been locked up at home. He only knows a few words. The woman with the long black hair was worried. Zhang Ming's family is very rich, but from the looks of it, he does not plan to send the child to the hospital for proper treatment. During dinner, I even asked him about it, but once I mentioned the child, Zhang Ming would turn on me immediately. When you went to his home, did you hear Zhang Ming say anything to the child? Like altars, mud statuettes, curses, or something like that? During dinner, Zhang Ming locked the child inside his bedroom. He did not seem to want the child to interact with the outside world. Okay, I understand. Chen Ge nodded. One last question. Where is Zhang Ming's home? I wish to pay him a visit and have a good talk with him. Why don't I give you his number? It is better to visit him in person. This is not something that can be explained over the phone. With Chen Ge's insistence, the woman finally gave him the address of Zhang Ming's home. When Chen Ge left the hospital, it was already afternoon. He arranged all the clues inside the sick room. There were many kinds of information hidden in the past. These things that appeared to be useless became the key to helping him find the ghost fetus at that moment. If the truth was a huge jigsaw puzzle, then what Chen Ge was doing was piecing the clues together. After returning to New Century Park and making sure the haunted house was fine, Chen Ge hailed a cab and rushed to eastern Zhejiang. The countdown had already begun, and he had to make every second count. When Chen Ge arrived at the White Dragon Cave tunnel in the eastern suburbs, it was already dark. When I first came here, I noticed that there were many bad things hiding in the surrounding forest. This time, it feels a lot quieter. At around 8:00 at night, Chen Ge entered the White Dragon Cave tunnel with his heavy backpack. The abandoned tunnel was left unattended, and the ground was littered with rotten branches and trash. Chen Ge did not turn on the lights. He held onto the cold wall of the tunnel and slowly entered it. The light behind him disappeared. He had already walked to a place where even the starlight could not reach. Is anyone there? The ghost fetus is coming back to life. This is probably the first place he will make his move. Before that, I wish to tell you all the information that I have so that you can be prepared. Chen Ge had never been so eager to run into ghosts before. He was there to search for the red specter from the car accident and her son. Of all the red specters that Chen Ge had encountered, the red specter from the car accident's son was the most unique one. Most of the doors that the door pusher opened were inside some kind of building, and that building became the bridge to the blood world. The door pusher at White Dragon Cave tunnel was different. When he died, his body was stuck inside the car window. The fire melted his flesh and the window, and the door that he pushed open was inside his body. After entering the world behind the door many times, Chen Ge knew one thing very well. It was easy to enter the world behind the door, but to exit the door, one had to get the door pusher's permission. The School of the Afterlife was a 4-star scenario. Ever since he accidentally entered it and started a 4-star mission, Chen Ge had been worried about this problem. If the ghost fetus appeared silently and led him into the door that he controlled, then he would be dead for sure. To prevent that from happening, the best solution that he could come up with was to stay with the Red Specter's son. That way, even if he was trapped inside the world behind the door, he could escape through the door inside the son's body. The reason the shadow had come to White Dragon Cave tunnel before was probably to obtain this special door, but he had been avoided by the Red Specter's son several times. However, it was also because of the shadow that the Red Specter and her son did not dare leave the tunnel. Once they stepped out, something bad would happen. Leaning against the wall, Chen Ge came to the place where he had first met the Red Specter from the car accident. The tunnel started to change. The air became humid, and even with yin-yang vision, the things before his eyes started to blur like there was a black fog surging out from the deepest part of the tunnel. A rustling sound echoed in his ears like the legs of many insects scratching the wall. Chen Ge stopped moving. He's here. In the dark tunnel, a pair of scarlet eyes slowly opened. Accompanied by an ear-piercing wail, a giant spider appeared. 6 legs that were covered in red marks pierced deep into the wall. The ridiculously large body was covered in pained human faces, and in the middle of all the faces was the head of a child. Black and red tattoos crawled all over his face, and the pair of bloodshot eyes stared down at Chen Ge from above. There was another red specter sitting on the spider's back. She was wearing a tattered dress, and her eyes that looked at Chen Ge could be considered friendly. The man seems to have gotten stronger. The door to White Dragon Cave tunnel was inside the boy's body. A normal red specter was no match for him. If he ran into someone that he could not defeat, he could escape through the door that he had opened. No wonder even the shadow could not do anything to him. However, this special power was obtained after paying an unimaginable amount of pain. When we were in Liwan City, we worked together. At the time, your mother was with me. She was a witness. Chen Ge tried to get to know her. After confirming that the red specter did not have a bad impression of him, he continued. Last time, we worked together to kill the shadow, but in reality, the shadow had already separated from the ghost fetus a long time ago. Now, no one knows what the ghost fetus is, but one thing is for sure, he is very scary and has the power to destroy all of our souls. It was not hard to convince the woman and her son. They knew how scary the shadow was more than Chen Ge, and they knew about the ghost fetus. They just did not expect the ghost fetus to appear so soon. The 2 red specters in White Dragon Cave tunnel agreed to help, but they only agreed for the woman to leave with Chen Ge. The son refused to leave the tunnel no matter what. This time, the situation was different from Liwan City. Chen Ge already had more than enough red specters around him. One more woman from the car accident was not going to change the situation. What he needed was the special door inside the tunnel. The 2 sides discussed this for a long time. Chen Ge slowly understood the 2 red specters' worries. The door that the son opened led to the tunnel behind the external door. No matter where he opened the door, it would lead him to that place. However, the problem was that the son had only opened the door in real life. He had not tried to open the door behind other red specters' doors, so he could not guarantee that the door would lead him back to reality. That was only one of the reasons. Another important reason was that the son of the woman in the car accident had a very strange power, dreamweaving. As long as he consumed a baleful specter, he could obtain part of their memory, and then he could use this memory to weave a dream. The clarity of the memory affected the duration of the dream. Most dreams were fleeting, but some of them could last for a long time. As long as he kept repairing them, there was no chance of them disappearing. The son had spent several years setting up many dreams inside the tunnel. If he accidentally fell into one of them, it would be troublesome even for the shadow. These dreams were scary, but at the same time, the son had to keep repairing them. If he left for too long, all the dreams would shatter. Chen Ge used the facts to reason with him. In the end, the son agreed to leave with Chen Ge for 1 night in the next 9 days. 1 night was more than enough for Chen Ge. He was grateful to the 2 red specters. After the deal was made, he left with the woman and headed toward Liwan City. Damien, if there comes a day when every page of your comic is filled with red specters, will you feel pressured? You are the strongest lesser red specter. You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to be aggressive. Don't worry about what other people say, you are the best. Look at OL, bye. He is so powerful now, but you have to try to absorb his spirit. Perhaps one day, when you become a red specter, you'll be the strongest red specter below a demon god. Chen Ge walked for a long time before he found a car that was willing to give him a ride. On the way to Liwan City, he hugged the comic and talked to himself. Initially, the driver thought that he was talking on the phone, but when Chen Ge got out of the car, he realized that Chen Ge was not wearing his earphones. Rushing, Chen Ge finally arrived at Liwan City before midnight. He found the door at midnight. He found the door. He waited for a while, and when he arrived, the door opened. The viscous blood mist stuck to his body, making it difficult for him to breathe. Every time he inhaled, his lungs would be filled with the smell of blood. Chen, 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 to Chen, Chen, and Shan. Compared to the last time he left, this place did not seem to have changed much. The door has been pushed open. As the door pusher, Xiao Biyu should have noticed my arrival. Liwan City was a 3.5-star scenario. The blood covered half of the town. After killing the shadow, most of the locals had snuck away, but there were many new specters who had snuck into the town. Chen Ge only took 10 steps before he felt several eyes on him. They were interested in living humans, but they did not make a move because they were afraid of Shuyin. It's not easy for Xiao Biyu to manage such a large territory on her own. If I have time in the future, I should come and help her. Narrowing his eyes, Chen Ge looked at the buildings on both sides and smiled. Don't just stand there, come down and play. There was no answer. Chen Ge wanted to summon Yandanian so that he could stop drawing and occasionally fight. You're lucky. After walking down several deserted streets, the blood fog thickened. Drops of blood fell on his body, and a figure appeared in the fog. She was wearing a red raincoat, and her mouth was sewn shut. Her red eyes looked at Chen Ge and Xu Yan. The red raincoat. Chen Ge stopped and waved lightly. Have you found your child? The woman in the red raincoat slowly walked toward Chen Ge. When she reached Chen Ge, she shook her head. If he is not in the world behind the door, is there a possibility that he was not killed by the shadow but was hidden somewhere else in Zhujiang? Chen Ge looked at the woman's eyes that were gradually brightening. The ghost fetus has possessed one of the children, and your child is probably one of them. After much investigation, I've narrowed the range down to 9 children. Chen Ge was about to continue when the woman suddenly grabbed his arm. The chill seeped through his skin, and the chill crawled into his heart. The woman's mouth was sewn shut, so she could not speak. Only a low moan that sounded like sobs escaped from her lips. Calm down. This time, I'm here to ask you to leave with me. In 8 days, I will find these 9 children, but in the meantime, you have to listen to my orders. Do not act on your own. Chen Ge struggled free from the woman's grasp. Where is Xiao Biyu? Bring me to her. There are some things that I need to explain to her. The woman turned around silently and signaled for Chen Ge to follow. They crossed Liwan City and arrived at the building where Zhang Ya, Dr. Gao, and the shadow had battled. The innocent girl was leaning against the wall, using the blood vessels in her body to slowly remove the curse left behind by the shadow. To remove the curse that the shadow had left in Liwan City would take years or even decades, but Xiao Biyu did not mind that. Before Chen Ge got close, Xiao Biyu sensed Chen Ge. She pulled back the blood vessels on her body and walked to stand before Chen Ge. The girl's reaction when she saw Chen Ge was very unique. Her eyes only stayed on Chen Ge for a second before she turned to look at Chen Ge's shadow like there was something fun there. She stared at Chen Ge's shadow and spaced out. Xiao Biyu, what are you thinking about? Chen Ge wanted to walk over to touch Xiao Bu's head, but considering that she was the door pusher from Liwan City and could use the power of a top red specter, he wisely gave up. I came to find you this time because of something very important. The ghost fetus that was separated from the shadow many years ago is about to be revived. He is currently in Zhujiang, and he might be hiding inside one of the children. I hope you can come with me to find him. Quote. Her confused eyes moved between Chen Ge and the shadow before Xiao Biyu finally nodded. After exiting Liwan City, Chen Ge glanced at his phone. It's still early. I can go to the 3rd sick hall. I haven't seen Meng Nan for a long time. I do miss him. For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.